Life, alright, click life, alright, click life.
TikTok, time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the. Sometimes I think I should just not say anything and just let you babble for like 10 minutes straight.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be funny if I just we're live and you're
Yeah.
I'm the apostate prophet, blah, blah.
Uh,
Hey, how's everyone doing?
And then I could say, I did not see that we're live. And yeah.
Hey, Pete, we were talking a minute ago before you ran off and disappeared and then didn't come back for 10 minutes. So actually, we were talking like 11 minutes ago.
Yes.
You didn't seem to so you're not familiar with the new circulating claim that your hero, the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, is a closet atheist.
Yeah, I don't really care about Saudi Arabia and the Crown Prince. And I feel like they are illegitimately leading this country when I should be ruling it. So therefore, I'm not really very much up to date with what's going on over there. I haven't seen it, but yeah, now that you're saying it, I guess there's something happening over there.
And it's it kind of makes sense, right? You've got all these concerts, Iggy Azalea telling people to like singing about people worshiping her and stuff like that, and that's Saudi Arabia. And as soon as I posted what the topic was, Black Angel started sending me links to all these videos and such. But apparently they opened a bikini beach in Jeddah. So now there's a beach. You don't have to be in a burqa. You don't even have to be in a burkini. You can be in an actual bikini in Jeddah, in Saudi Arabia. What are you smiling at? You just have your atheist pervert in mind. Bikinis.
Yeah,
boobies,
yes,
boobies,
exactly,
boobies.
exactly. I thought I had no interest in Saudi Arabia because you can't see any like skin there. Now I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. Okay. No, the thing is,
AP's like,
it's
now
very.
I want to go.
No, the thing is that the change in Saudi Arabia is just happening so fast, so rapidly, and which of course kind of confirms the idea that there is something very different about the ruling people right now and what's going on in their minds and what they care about. The Crown Prince very much took over all decision-making processes and all that, and it's pretty much leading the cultural changes in the country. But the thing is, I mean, just 10 years ago, there was still a mandatory hijab law. It has been abolished, has been lifted. Now there is still kind of a law which is like vaguely dressing modestly, but and maybe wearing an abaya, but it is not really, it is very loosely defined. But there is no longer a Sharia enforcement. Saudi Arabia was one of the two countries that had this massive Sharia regulation and obligation, along with Iran. They abolished it. But you would think, okay, abolishing Sharia, abolishing hijab is one thing, but along with that, then bikinis, allowing parties, then organizing a music festival and inviting the most
Alcohol now legalized in certain places in
alcohol,
Saudi Arabia.
a music festival with the most sexually provocative musicians in the world
Yeah,
invited and
stuff I would
what is happening?
stuff I would not want my kids watching, and now they're blasting it and people dancing to it in Saudi Arabia. So again, we're not going to watch all these clips because we're going to watch. I've got two clips definitely pulled up that we're going to check out. But some of the other things that Black Angel sent. So there is the famous little interview that was posted on Memory where he's affirming the Quran, but he's saying he rejects most hadiths and so on, and apparently doesn't think that they should apply legally. And seemed to think that if you're doing stuff in your own home, it's got nothing to do with this. And it sounded like he was saying that you need a clear command like from the Quran or certain kinds of hadith. So you got that. She sent a clip on how many Saudis are estimated to be atheists, and 5 to 9% of Saudis people in Saudi Arabia are estimated. 5 to 9% are estimated to be closet atheists. 5 to 9%. So wouldn't actually be terribly surprising if the Crown Prince is one of them, if you got that many. So you're talking about a lot of people. Then, of course, there's a video of the Bikini Beach, but the video is from a Muslim site that's complaining about it, and they've got the bikini stuff blurred, but yet lots of ladies standing around in mini skirts dancing at night and bikinis during the day. The post is from the Muslim analyst, says, "Welcome to the land of Tawheed, sun, sea, and opposite sex. Saudi Arabia's Bikini Beach with music night parties. This is Pure Beach in King Abdullah Economic City, which is about 125 kilometers north of Jeddah, which was opened last August. You have to pay. Oh, that's interesting. You have to pay to go to the Bikini Beach. So they're actually getting paid off it. That's nice. That's smart. Get paid. Hey, you wear burqa all day long, you go to Bikini Beach, but you got to pay to get to the Bikini Beach. Woohoo!
Well, there were always there were always rumors and also news of whenever the Crown Prince travels internationally, goes to Western countries, you could already see him. Often he just takes off his whole thing and dresses like a regular person in the West. But there were also like rumors that he just engages in all kinds of, activities, parties, and all kinds of pleasures whenever he's away from there.
Shocker.
The thing is, Saudi Arabia wasn't always a restrictive Islamist country. Despite being the home, despite being in charge of the two sacred sides of Islam, until the 70s or so, it wasn't very restrictive. It was in the 70s that this thing happened. The Grand Mosque seizure happened, where with this religious organization in a terrorist attack, even like took control of the Kaaba and took control of the Grand Mosque in order to implement certain religious demands. And after that event, I'm not entirely familiar with how it unfolded, but after that event, Saudi Arabia took an extremely sharp turn toward becoming incredibly religious and imposing all kinds of restrictions upon the population. That's where Saudi Arabia suddenly turned hard Islamist. And now it seems like under the current Crown Prince, things are turning into the opposite direction. And lots of people say this is happening because Saudi Arabia realizes, like everyone else, that Saudi Arabia was nothing. It was nothing. It was a poor, dumb desert until oil made them rich. But oil dependency will, in the future, run out, and it will no longer benefit them. And what will they be left with? Which is why they now have to find a different thing to channel toward. And what they are going for is westernization, opening up the country to tourism and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so they have really upped the income of the pilgrimage. So they've got the oil revenue, and then by getting more and more people to go on big fancy trips to the Hajj, they make a lot of money that way. But and by the way, that was kind of the original purpose of that whole setup. You'll all recall when we've gone in detail through the Quran, Surah 9, verse 28 through verse 33. This whole pilgrimage thing, it's all a money making scheme. Not according to me, according to the Quran and the commentaries. So according to Surah 9, verse 28, Muhammad was declaring that the pagans could no longer take the pilgrimage to Mecca, and Muslims became worried. The new Muslims in Mecca became worried. This is gonna interfere with our trade with these people. It's going to interfere with our money in the city, because we don't have a lot going on in this city. It's kind of a desert crap hole. One of the things we got going through us is we got people coming in to take the pilgrimage here, and you're ruining them. And that's when Muhammad gives the solution in the very next verse. We're going to fight the Jews and Christians till they pay the jizya. So we're going to get paid that way. So you get paid with jizya. But the other way you get paid is if people convert. Then they're paying their zakat, and they're taking the pilgrimage to Mecca. So it's all, you're worried about losing one source of revenue. I'm giving you all these extra sources of revenue. Isn't it Isn't it wonderful? And then Fall in here says they prefer same sex. That's a reference to a moment ago when I read from the Muslim analyst, "Welcome to the land of Tawheed, son, sea, and opposite sex." They prefer same sex. Opposite sex, but no goats.
Opposite sex. What a thing, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Interesting wording there. Seriously.
you were talking about taking the Kaaba and stuff like that, and then I thought I'd like to take over the Kaaba, and then I was thinking, no, I don't. I just want the black stone. I just want the black stone for myself.
It's too shattered. You can't do anything with it anymore.
I mean, you can take the pieces and stuff. You wear one as a necklace, you know, and stuff like that. Have one as a paperweight. I'm talking to you guys in Saudi Arabia right now. I'm 47. I'm about to turn 48. So I don't know how long I've got left, but mark my words, I'm going to get that black stone. Before I die, I'm going to have that black stone. I'm going to have that. I'm going to be wearing that thing as bling.
David, just make sure after this that you never enter a Saudi Arabian embassy.
He's got to let us go. We got to go to the beach. We got to go to. So I was looking at the concerts. Right, I was looking at the concerts they've been. So it's, we were familiar with Iggy Azalea because that was like all over Twitter and stuff like that. And but they've been having tons of concerts. I think Nicki Minaj either went there or she's going there. Metallica, I think either went there or is going there. The concert list for 2024 includes everyone you could think of. Black Eyed Peas, everyone. Chris Brown. Wait, is that the dude that beat the crap out of Rihanna? Yeah. Chris Brown? Oh, yeah. He might stay. He'll love it there.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
You mean a country that will praise me when I beat the crap out of a woman? Oh, yeah, I got to stay here. My goodness.
Well, the funny thing is, I think Iggy Azalea's agent explained that they prior to going there, they sent them the list of songs, and the organizers approved it, like saw it and approved it, invited them. And after the show, despite the fact that during the show this whole thing happened where her pants like ripped open, and they had to cut it short, they re-invited her and said, like, we expect her again. So it looks like, but I don't know, it looks like Saudi Arabia doesn't have a big problem with these.
And this is wild. It was just 2018 where women were allowed to start driving.
Yeah.
And now they've got Iggy Azalea twerking on stage while Saudis scream. In fact, one of the clips that Black Angel sent me, it was a woman saying, we weren't even allowed to, it's at the Bikini Beach, and she's going, we weren't even allowed to listen to music a few years ago. We weren't allowed to listen to it. And now we're at a Bikini Beach partying. That is that's 5 years ago. That's I don't know, 5 years ago. She said a few years ago they were allowed to. I don't know if that was earlier or even sooner, but or more recent. But yeah, so she's saying recently they weren't even allowed to listen to music, and before 2018 they weren't allowed to drive, and now they're partying in bikinis at the beach and other places they can drink. I don't know if they can drink at that beach. This is really, really wild here. Oh, and
you told me. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and so as I pointed out, 5 to 9% of Saudis are estimated to be atheist, and that will. Here's the comment here. For you atheists who are celebrating, if the trajectory continues, that is correct, Mohammed Hijab. If the trajectory continues, what's this going to be like in another 5 or 10 years? But I'm not going to watch this because it's a video. We're not going to have time. But Saudi Arabia, an openly gay man won some sort of Best Actor award in Saudi Arabia. I mean, are you like? It's like how did the country change this rap? I mean, that's like unprecedented. I've never seen this much change in a 5-year period, right? So that's absolutely crazy, and so we'd have to wonder why. We have to wonder why things are changing so rapidly. And you're suggesting, well, just economically, they know their oil's going to run out. So what are they going to do?
Yeah.
But also,
obviously don't care that much enough about the religion. So.
Yeah, and so the other thing is, I mean, think about it. If you do have people like the Crown Prince who are actually closet atheists and are actually sabotaging Islam from within. But I mean, think about this, AP. I mean,
Loving it.
one of the things I thought was awesome about the internet that really was probably the main reason I focused on YouTube early on was I realized in the Muslim world they've been able to keep their people insulated from
Yeah.
criticism for 14 centuries, and all of a sudden you've got open access to them, and their leaders can no longer keep them insulated, but they still try. Like Pakistan bans videos and things like that. Saudi Arabia, they arrest bloggers and so on for posting negative comments about Islam or the leaders or something. But I mean, if they're just like opening the floodgates all of a sudden, I think I think Islam is in a bit of trouble. I think
It
Islam is in
is.
a bit of trouble.
It is a downfall, and I guess there was always talk about the whole revivalism of Islam that took place over the last half century or so, because a lot of the Muslim countries that are nowadays known to be very religious, they were actually very secular at the beginning of the 20th century and throughout. They were following very secular and nationalist ideas that were contrary to this, to Islamic unity and Islamic laws and all of that. And there was a revivalist movement where these Salafi groups and others started saying, "We, the Muslim world, we have become terrible. We have become, we have become pathetic. We have lost our faith. It is time to go back to the roots of our religion," and so on. And this is how they slowly took over and turned these countries into more religious things. But it looks like, and the same thing happened in Saudi Arabia, as said, after in the 70s when the Grand Mosque seizure happened. But if it goes like this, if the trajectory continues as it is, and Saudi Arabia, along with other countries, after such a short revivalism period, again turns toward secularism and lets go off Islam, then this could mean that that whole Islamic revivalist period was just a hiccup or a last ditch effort by the Islamists or by Islam to stay relevant or stay in charge, and it didn't work.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously these countries realize that Islam doesn't work. It doesn't get them anywhere, and they're going a different way now.
Yeah, I've broken down multiple times sort of what led up to the Iranian Revolution and the Muslim Brotherhood and all that. And I've pointed out that, just to recap for anyone who's not familiar with it, pretty quick. After the collapse of the Ottoman Empire, so Islam always had an empire from the time they got one for many, many centuries. They always had an empire. They lost their empire when the Ottoman Empire fell. And all of a sudden, they no longer have a caliphate anymore. This is like, I mean, to a Muslim, to your average Muslim back then, people can't even absorb how big this was for them, right? We've always had our caliphate, and now we've lost our caliphate. We don't have a caliph. What is going on here? This wasn't supposed to happen. It has collapsed. We've lost. We have been defeated. We lost our empire. And so the reaction was for these countries to say, all right, well, we lost, and the Western world is much more powerful, so we need to start copying Western nations. And so look at pictures from Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran from 60, 70 years ago. They looked like Western nations. They all tried to modernize. But there's another possible reaction. There's another possible interpretation of the evidence. And the other possible interpretation of the situation is that you weren't being strict enough. You weren't being devout enough. You weren't applying Sharia faithfully. And that's why Allah is punishing you using these Western nations, or he's testing you or something along those lines. And you have the opportunity to really double down on Sharia, and then Allah will bless you. And so that's when you get, the Iranian Revolution, where the fanatical religious leaders take over. That's when you get the Muslim Brotherhood. Eventually you get groups like ISIS, but they all had the same mentality. The reason we are not dominating the world is because we are not being strict enough. We're not eliminating heresy and hypocrisy. If we just do those things and go full force on Sharia, then Allah is going to bless us. And well, notice, how's that working out for everyone? It's not working out. So the question is, if that failed, what then happens? And according to what AP was just saying, we might be seeing it. We might be seeing the collapse. We might be seeing them realizing, actually, just going hardcore like Salafi, Muslim Brotherhood style Islam, it's not working. We need to go back to modernizing.
It's not working. I find the thing very funny. The abolishing of the caliphate happened under Ataturk. I made a video on that, how this Turk destroyed Islam. But it's very funny because the guy actually, so Ataturk takes over Turkey after the whole secular revolution, when Western powers defeat the Ottoman Empire and basically scatter it and try to turn it into different countries and one little Turkish country. Ataturk fights against them with under his leadership, defeats them, is heavily against the Ottoman Empire, heavily against Islamic rule. He calls it he calls it an old, outdated, useless system and things like that. Expels the Ottomans from Turkey, and has the caliphate now in his hands. And he says, we don't want this, we don't need this, this is ridiculous, this makes us backward and stupid. But what he actually does, Ataturk, is so reportedly he offers it to certain people. He says, no Turkish leader should hold this title. Let's give it to somebody else, to some Arabs who will not have any, who will not have any jurisdiction or any power over Turkey. He offers it to several leaders, and they say, no, I am not worthy. We stay loyal to the Ottoman Caliph. And in the end, what Ataturk does is like, well, okay, abolish it. Abolish it. If they're going to do that, let's just abolish it, get rid of it completely, destroy it. And then they officially abolish it, and it's gone. It's gone permanently.
Wild.
It can't be reestablished again, because they're simply, it's impossible with this Islamic world to create the unity and establish a caliphate.
Because they're all rallying around different leaders and different dawah guys and different sheikhs and so on, and you can't do it anymore. Wow.
Fantastic.
So Urban Infidel said they are choosing the cow. And John B pointed out their strip clubs are petting zoos. Pretty rude.
That's
all right, we got a bunch of super chats. We'll read those in a minute. Let's go ahead and watch the first. We have two clips. One is pretty short. That's the one. This is the one that started circulating, where a guy, no idea whether we should trust him, but a sheikh is saying that he has inside information that the crown prince is actually hates Islam and is an undercover unbeliever. So let's go ahead and watch this, and then we'll watch Harris Sultan actually goes through it a bit more carefully and adds his own commentary. We'll check that out. But here we go.
أحد ضباط CIA اللي أصبح الآن عضو في الكونغرس تكلم قال قابلت محمد بن سلمان قبل.
Someone from the CIA stated that he met with MBS about 1.5 years ago.
سنة ونص تقريبا شخصيا بيني وبينه.
Personal meeting with him.
لي
he said something of critical importance. Should I read what he's saying out loud for anyone who's listening? What do you think, AP?
I'm always conflicted on that. Sometimes they're like, I'm listening, please read it. And then I read it, and they're like, we can read it. So
I'm going to read it out loud for people, because some people actually say they listen to it at work and stuff like this if they're doing a job where they can listen to stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and read it. And if you don't like it, you have my full permission to cry me or ever. The other people would be like actual Arabic speakers who are just trying to listen to this dude.
You can't please everyone.
He said that the problem does not lie with the extremists. So
we can read.
Yeah, MBS says the problem does not lie with the extremists. If the trajectory continues.
والمشكلة ليست في الجماعات الجهادية.
Nor with the jihadi groups, AP,
الإسلام نفسه.
but rather with Islam itself, AP.
وعلينا أن
So the Western government should work together with us.
الحكومات الغربية حتى نساعد في تغيير الإسلام نفسه.
So that we can reform Islam itself. So this guy's saying that he knows a CIA guy who's talking to the Saudi crown prince, and the Saudi crown prince was telling the CIA agent, we should work together, Western nations. The problem is not extremists. The problem is not the extremists. The problem is Islam itself. So we should all be working together to create a better future here.
Wow. I mean, if he really did say that, that's
And that's what I mean. It's like you'd think, okay, why should I listen to this guy? Why would I be listening to this guy? Any enemy that MBS has, any enemy he has could just go up and say, oh, he's actually a secret. He's working with the CIA. Like you could do it. But it makes perfect sense of everything the guy's doing since he's been in. It makes perfect sense. You're sitting there wondering, why are they having all these concerts? Why are they obsessed with all these sporting events now? Why are they obsessed with, why are they legalizing alcohol and having bikini beaches? And that kind of fits. In other words, he doesn't sound like someone who's taking Islam very seriously. And then the accusations start coming out. Actually, behind the scenes, he acknowledges it to Western leaders and saying, hey, we need to work together and working towards the future.
The thing is, on the one hand, I want to believe this because it sounds fantastic. It sounds very, very based, as they say, in science. But the other thing is, of course, in the Arab world, there is an insane amount of conspiracy theories, and Middle Eastern people are in general not a very good source of information. You can find them say all kinds of ridiculous things and
pretty racist. But go ahead.
I mean,
Are Turkish people racist against Arabs, AP?
Parts of them are, yeah, but Turkish people are
you how about you particularly?
No, I'm not.
Oh, okay.
I'm not.
Okay, that means yes. Okay, go ahead. Because that's exactly what I would expect a racist to say, right? You're not going to be like, yeah, I'm a racist, right? Racists don't admit it. They're like, no, I don't believe it.
Exactly.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Exactly. But you can hear all kinds of ridiculous things like that. Israel actually installs cameras in birds which fly over and land in Muslim countries through which Israel spies on Muslims and things like that. All kinds of ridiculous things. So what I'm getting at is that in the Muslim world, you better don't believe something that some guy says, no matter who it is. But again, I would like to believe that it's true. You know?
It's a weird situation, and it reminds me of the situation of you can have basically a Muslim who doesn't believe in terrorism or killing apostates or something like that will tell you, and he'll be speaking truthfully, but someone who does believe in terrorism and killing apostates and things can lie and just say he doesn't believe in those things just to make Islam look more peaceful. The point is, someone can be telling you something and it's like, oh, okay, well, he may be telling the truth or he may be lying. I can't tell, because if he believes what he's saying, he's going to say that. And if he doesn't believe what he's saying, he's going to say it. So either way, he's going to say the exact same thing and I can't tell. And so it's a situation where, okay, this guy may know someone. This guy could know someone who informed him, hey, this Saudi crown prince doesn't actually believe in Islam. This could be entirely truthful here. He could have this information. Or even if this guy's making stuff up, that dude could be a closet atheist or something like that. Or this guy could just view him as he's too laid back, and so we need someone that's more Sharia compliant. So we need to start accusing him of being a closet atheist who hates Islam. You just can't tell with these guys because you can never tell when they're telling the truth or not.
Yeah. The crown prince is a Jew. He's a Jew.
That should be the title. Is the Saudi crown prince a Jew?
No joke. It's like, of course, in the Muslim world, that's one thing to go for. As soon as you suspect that somebody is not going the way you want them to go, you're like, oh, he's a Jew. He's working for Israel.
Yeah.
And actually, with the crown prince, this is not something uncommon. You have many people might have seen since October 7. There were memes. There were pictures spread about the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, depicting him as a Jewish guy with a hat and those things, because Saudi Arabia has been normalizing relations with Israel. And
that's the other component, by the way.
They didn't take strict action against Israel after October 7th. That's why they're like, "Does you see? The crown prince is actually a secret Jew. He's working for his own people."
But notice that would actually fit in pretty well with the rest of the trend, right? It's like if I see a nation like Saudi Arabia saying, "Hey, time to get along with the Jews." And like, wait, what? Have you read your books? No, we don't take those seriously. Wait, what?
A Jew.
Very interesting stuff going on here.
Jew.
All right, let's see where this guy goes with this. So, MBS made such a statement to that person.
فهو الرجل الآن يصرح لهذا الشخص ما لم يصرحه لغيره.
Which is something he has not said.
يجد
Which is that he
مشكلة
finds
في
Islam
الإسلام
itself to be problematic.
Nice. Base.
Finds Islam itself to be
نظر
problematic.
نفسه.
So MBS has dedicated his life to change Islam. He, again, whether this guy knows what he's talking about or is making stuff up, the behavior that we're seeing definitely fits the idea that he does not take Islam very seriously. And that's kind of like that's putting it mildly. So he's either an unbeliever or he's just not taking it seriously. Something's going on.
من أجل أن يغير الدين والعياذ بالله حتى
in order to strip Muslims of their religion.
يخلص المسلمين من الاعتداد بدينهم من الثقة
and to undermine their confidence in their faith.
من التمسك بهذا المنهج. وشايف حاله أقول لكم
This individual is not in his right mind. Oh. Wait, what?
Where is this guy from?
What's I don't know. It's crazy, but it's like he's saying all this stuff, and I'm like, oh, cool. Wow, this guy really knows what he's doing. And all of a sudden, this individual's not in his right mind. Dude, everything you just said suggests that this guy's a genius, and you're saying that he's not in his right mind.
I wonder who this guy is. I mean, he's certainly not from Saudi Arabia, because you can't. If you were from Saudi Arabia and you said something like this, you would be done for. So.
ليس طبيعيا يعني رجل يعني اكتنفه جنون.
He's a megalomaniac and thinks he can achieve what?
فظن أنه سيفعل ما لم يفعله الأوائل.
Something. Oh, did you hear that? Something which those before him could not do. No one has ever contemplated changing Islam. What planet does this dude live on?
فكر أحد أبدا أن يغير الإسلام نفسه. بإمكانك أنت.
You can corrupt people's morals.
تفسد الناس.
That's true. Or oppress them, or imprison them,
تقمعهم أو تسجنهم أو تقتل
or kill the scholars, or banish them. However, it's not. Is this guy joking? Like what?
They will cite the Quran verse and say, Allah says, Allah will complete his light, although the disbelievers dislike it. That's what Muslims actually believe. So they actually believe that nobody has ever tried, or people tried, but they've never achieved to even change a little bit of Islam, which is just ridiculous.
Yeah, and it's like, has this guy not been paying attention to the trajectory?
No. Apparently not.
Dude, you're living in the middle of it right now. I don't know what this guy's thinking. It's not realistic to change Islam itself. It's not doable, regardless of how hard you try, to change Islam itself, because the Quran says so. Past 1400 years, others before you have tried. Yeah. Guy doesn't get it. One, all kinds of changes took place in Islam over the past 1400 years. But guess what? Anything that dies out, you could say for a long time. Oh, but it's lasted so long, right? And then it dies out. Lots of again, Greek religion, Roman religion, those things died out. They didn't last, but they lasted a long time. But then they didn't anymore. And so, just get used to the idea.
What an atheist would say.
جربها غيرك وجربها.
But an atheist would say a bunch of other dumb stuff to go along with it.
آخرون حتى في بداية الإسلام.
And they start talking about zaboobas.
ولم يستطيعوا. فهذا الذي نقله يدل دلالتان. الدلالة الأولى.
MBS is a criminal. He says first, MBS is a criminal.
الأولى أن محمد بن سلمان مجرم يعادي الإسلام نفسه.
That harbors hostility towards Islam itself. Well, in that sense, we're friends. Because I harbor hostility towards Islam. But I'm open about it. But if I were the crown prince of Saudi Arabia and an atheist, I wouldn't be open with it. I'd just destroy it from within.
Yeah.
Not the claims of extremism and fundamentalism.
وأنه قد حمل هذا الموضوع فعلا كرسالة وكمشروع وكقضية له يتبناها. والموضوع الثاني
Again, notice how this fits. He's saying this guy actually hates Islam, and he's making it his life project to destroy Islam from within. That fits perfectly with the observation. I can't say that's the reason. It could be other things. He could really believe in Islam and just say, we got to modernize. We can't just someone's got to do it at some point. Could be something like that, but I don't know. It seems to fit better if he's just a guy who doesn't take Islam serious, and can be a combination. Could be a combination of the two. Like, one, we need to modernize, and two, I don't really believe in Islam anyway.
The funny thing is the word that he just used to describe MBS, mujrim. It does mean criminal, but it's like it doesn't really, like, the word criminal in English doesn't quite cover the meaning of what that actually is. Like, it's not like a criminal before the law. It is more like somebody who is I don't know, somebody who's a sinner or criminal, an offender of some sort. I don't know. You can't even really translate it, but it has much harsher implications, actually.
See, Arabic is such a perfect language.
Yeah. Yes.
Can't be translated. Actually, this is the end. Here's the end. Let's see. Proves that MBS is a foolish person. Wait, this is what I mean, right? This proves that he's a foolish person. Wait, it proves the opposite of that. How are you getting that? All I heard from this guy is, look, MBS said this, and he's completely right. And he said that, and it's completely right. And he's doing this, and it's completely right. And everything he's doing is completely right. You see? He's not a smart person. Wait, what?
Look, MBS is a genius.
He thinks that he can achieve something unrealistic and unachievable. So this guy's whole thing, look, he's saying, hey, look at everything MBS is doing. It's all right on the money. But this guy thinks he can change Islam. It's unrealistic and unachievable. So he's crazy, actually. All right.
Now people are posting a bunch of recommendations for the word here in the chat. Miscreant, deviant, sinner,
menace,
heretic, depraved criminal. Yeah, I don't really know what to translate it to. I guess that covers
reprobate.
I saw translations of the Quran use that word for that.
Scofflaw. I haven't heard that one in a while. Scofflaw. He's a scofflaw.
Yeah. I read a translation of the Quran which actually uses like reprobate for that specifically as a translation. I don't know why. That was actually the first time I heard that word.
All right. So what is our assessment of the reliability of the guy we were just watching on a scale of 1 to 10? I've got on a scale of 1 to 10 how trustworthy I think this guy is. AP, give me your answer, and then I'll flash how many on a scale of 1 to 10 I think how reliable I think this guy is. What he's saying.
It's going to be very useless, but I would say 5.
I would say 3. Meaning, and by the way, I'm not saying his claim that MBS is a closet Muslim. That I think is probable. Like I would give that I would estimate like a 6 or 7 on a scale of 1 to 10. How true I think it is. Whether he's someone who just doesn't take it very seriously, may believe it's true, but not taking it very seriously or something like that. I'd say you're like in the 9 to 10 ballpark. But I'm talking about this guy and his story. And the CIA guy told me, kind of.
Yeah,
you're hearing from the CIA and stuff. So not sure about that. But again, could be totally true. I would have to watch a bunch of this guy's videos. Because it looks like it seems like the same sort of guy that you could flip on and he'd say, and the Jews are training snakes to sneak in and poison the Palestinians. It seems like that sort of guy, in which case I wouldn't believe it. I wouldn't believe anything the guy's saying. But if I were to watch a bunch of videos and he's pretty level-headed, and this is the only example of him saying, I heard from the CIA or something like that, then I'd be, okay, well, he's otherwise reliable. So...
That's the vibe that I'm getting from the guy too, like that he could just roll with any kind of ridiculous story and try to sell it as true, which is why it's kind of it's hard to take seriously, but it's also not something that sounds entirely implausible. But the whole fact that he brings in the whole thing at the guy from the CIA told me about MBS.
He should have just said inside. I've heard it from a reliable insider who knows.
Yeah, it's
just
more
should
like
have said that. Once you start saying, and then Mossad contact was like, come on, dude.
it sounds more like BS than something about
And
MBS.
and again,
But
it could happen. That sort of thing can happen. You do have the CIA trying to work with all sorts of people in all sorts of different countries, and CIA could be breaking it. Actually, he's on our side. So yeah, not sure what's going on. All right, so Harris Sultan went into a little more detail. With that. He used that clip and went into more detail. We're going to check that out here in a minute, and let's go through some super chats first because we've got a bunch. We'll go through some of these super chats and we'll start watching Harris. Giovanni, wait, weren't we going to ban him? Giovanni says, and notice they're actually late. It's weird how he always says notice. Secret Christian AP says, got a picture of you reading your Bible like a good Christian. My atheist self is so lazy. Praise the Lord, I changed. Good, we're hearing from Secret Christian AP. And thanks for posting that super chat, AP. Farfour says, you're sitting there watching Goat Hub. Lose faith. Better for you. You're sitting there watching Goat Hub. Lose faith. Better for you.
that's directly from Mohammed Hijab, except that it's Netflix. So
and looks like the Saudi Crown Prince is doing exactly what Hijab recommends.
Yeah.
Only one way to know. How late is MBS usually? What's that mean? How late is MBS?
I don't know, something cultural. I don't know.
I can't wait for the days when I can say I was ex-Muslim before it was cool. Yeah, it kind of became cool at some point. And so you have to look like I was an atheist before it was cool. And then I left atheism before it was cool.
Yeah.
Then it became cool. Then everyone found out it's actually super lame.
Yeah, it is still cool right now. So you're still.
Oh! I get it. It's a joke for you. It's a joke about you being late. That's what the joke is about.
Well, it's a terrible joke because.
So how trustworthy is he? Only one way to know. How late is he?
That's a terrible, terrible joke because Arabs have a reputation for being extremely unreliable in terms of time.
It's not just them; it's Pakistanis as well. I know that because Nabil's Pakistani and he had Pakistani friends and so on. And it was weird because he was always 15 minutes late, but like 15 minutes on the nose late. So he's like, it's kind of on time for him. He's always on time for him, which means 15 minutes late.
Yeah. I feel like I personally am always as late as Arabs are. So I don't know what happened there.
So you're right on time if you're an Arab.
Yeah.
Harris Sultan isn't late. Ditch AP for him. Sid Day says, it is good for the world if Middle Eastern countries do this. It will be tough for Islamic extremists to justify when the birthplace of Islam does not do it. And that's something I was thinking of, like, Saudi that is sort of the center. That is the hub of the Islamic world. So if that place just completely modernizes and then you're going to the Hajj, but hey, we're taking the Hajj and, first we're going to have a little detour to this bikini beach and we're going to party it up right before the Hajj, get really wasted, then go on our Hajj. Sneeko will love it. And this new generation will all love it. But yeah, the hardcore Muslim Brotherhood types, they're not going to be, they're going to have a problem.
I mean, there will probably be a time in the near future where people will be like, oh, see, people are saying all kinds of terrible things about Islam, but just go to Saudi Arabia. It's a wonderful place where you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, that's what it's, see, that's real Islam there. That's awesome.
So, Saudi Arabia is currently Islam hub. But it will probably turn into something else.
And the home base of Goat Hub.
Yeah.
Moto Gear said, how long before Islamic fundamentalists take over Saudi Arabia through violence just like their prophet did? That's the thing. And Harris points this out. I mean, he doesn't explain it exactly the way I would, but he points out that MBS is basically a dictator. You're not going to mess around with him. And that's why it doesn't even matter if people are going around calling him an atheist and stuff. You get out of line, he will kill you. He will lock you up or he will kill you.
That's what
But
atheists do.
it's similar to other leaders like who you got? You got Assad. You got Assad over there. Pretty secular leader. He will crush you if you get out of line. That dude will crush you. And there are people who don't like that, right? The fundamentalists don't like that because they can't take over because they got a guy who will crush him. Iraq. You had a big one there. That guy did not care much about Islam, but all the jihadi types were terrified of him because if you got out of line, he would send tanks into your village and completely destroy you. So they were terrified of him. So it's not that that no one can stand up to the jihadis and the religious fundamentalists will take over and so on. It's Western style leaders do not do well in that situation. Western style leaders don't do it. You can have a brutal dictator who can keep all those guys in line.
Yeah. That's how atheists do. That's what atheists do.
Mm-hmm. That's how atheists roll. They go in there, corrupt the land, and install brutal dictators.
Yeah. That's what they do.
It's now 3 a.m. in Israel. You should do this. You should do earlier lives. You would get more Israelis watching.
Well, considering that it's Israel, which is basically what we're working for, we don't really care about the rest of the world. Maybe we should take that advice and move it. I don't know.
That's true. There's a point. Since we're fully funded by Mossad, we should. Yeah, but I mean, we're not paid to preach to the Israelis. We're paid to share what the script that we're told to read to the rest of the world.
Makes sense. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay.
Good point.
Saudi Arabia, now the world center of Quran only fans. That 5 to 10% atheist figure is old. I'm pretty sure it's from 2012. By the way, I'm all in favor of changing Saudi Arabia to Idemir Arabia. Yeah, that'd be a good one.
Oh yeah.
And you're right that 5 to on the clip that Black Angel sent me was 5 to 9%, and those estimates are old. So you could, and given the rate at which things are changing, it does not take a long time. Would not be surprising if all of a sudden you see 20% or something like that, or 25%. Pretty crazy. And then how do you switch it back?
Arabia reminds me of rabies. So.
Rabies. Where can you send you a video? Because I just saw a guy on TikTok saying it's Islamophobic to say Mohammed is a false prophet. You can't you can't post links in the comments section on my stuff because, people ended up posting links to porn and so on. Not going to say which religious group kept doing that.
Because David will kill you if you do that.
But you can give like the name for a search or something like that. Or you could go to Answering Islam, the website Answering Islam. So answeringislam.net. You can find my email address there. You can look up individual authors, find my author name, and my email address is there. My name is Sean, says Farfour dance or we riot.
No.
What is the dance? Oh yeah, I forgot. Okay. Powerful. Red Van is, and by the way, AP, can we say that's where all this modernization started with the Farfour dance? All of a sudden, hey, all these little kids watching Farfour, their hero, and wait a minute, he's dancing. Whoa, he's even dancing when his granddad's dying.
Yeah, that was actually it was Hamas, the Hamas creation Farfour, which started all this modernization of Islam. Yeah, or corruption of Islam. It's true.
Red Van is my favorite member of the LGBTQ community.
Well, which letter am I exactly? I don't know.
Yeah, you got to tell us which letter he is. All right, cool. We're finally here from Mossad. What are our orders? AP and D Wood, do you want your shekels to be delivered in person or by mail? Either way.
Yeah, either way. Yeah.
Yeah. Big Rig said some
Crypto
people
works too.
Some people would be surprised with how much gay porn stashes we found in abandoned I guess it's Al-Qaeda buildings and positions in Afghanistan.
I mean, there was a whole collection that Bin Laden himself possessed, right? It is actually
yeah, had a big porn collection. We've talked before that a few years ago when the study was done, Pakistan led the world in porn searches for like goat sex and camel sex and all this stuff. These are the guys who are lecturing us. Keep in mind, any Muslims who are watching and are listening to what's going on in Saudi Arabia are like, no, how is morality going to be preserved? Like, do you have any clue what's going on behind the scenes in these places? Like,
that's how it is, man. That's how it is. It's so funny because the whole Bin Laden thing, that there was a porn collection found in his where he is, in his headquarters, is used by many Muslims nowadays as evidence that he was not really a Muslim, but that he was a foreign agent. Because they're like, so he's supposed to be a religious leader, but he had a huge porn collection that they found there. What kind of religious leader would do that? Which is just ridiculous, because that doesn't show that he was not a Muslim or not a Muslim leader. It just shows that that being a religious Muslim leader doesn't mean that you don't look at porn. On the contrary, it could mean the opposite.
Mm-hmm. We have breaking news from Goat Hub here. If the trajectory continues, all of Saudi Arabia will be getting 50% off using code Burkini.
That's very generous.
You don't need burkini though. They want full bikini. They have full bikini beaches now in Saudi Arabia.
That's very nice.
A place where women just got the ability to drive in cars in 2018.
Shameful, disgusting. See, that's how they're betraying us.
The Adventures of Shake It Off. I am working on a video explaining jihad using a lot of your research. I hope that unlike Aisha, when Mohammed climbed on top of her, you consent to this. Yeah, I don't know if you're talking about me or AP. I can speak for myself. You can use any of my stuff however you want. I do not care. AP, what are your thoughts on that?
If you use my stuff, I will come for you. I will find you. And I will say, hey, yeah, go ahead, use it.
You heard it here, folks. P.S. If you also appear in my video, Islamic Hygiene. You also appear in my video, Islamic Hygiene, public next month, along with Fareed. Ooh. Aisha and Muhammad's soiled garments. Was Diha the cause? That is the question. We do not know. And I wonder if there's some hadith that gives more details, that actually explains the origin of the semen all over Muhammad's clothes. It's gross no matter what. So on the one hand, this dude, he's like, I need to wipe all the semen off me from, banging all these chicks and so on. And, let me use the thing I wear to the mosque. That's a good idea. Not that rag over there on the ground. I'll use the garment I wear I'll use the clothes I wear to the mosque. That's what so that's disgusting. And that's the best case scenario. That is the best case scenario for Muslims, that Muhammad used his garments that he wore to the mosque as a jizya rag. Already absolutely disgusting. And it's funny when you actually get the responses, if you bring that up. So we're not even talking about questioning whether it was actually his semen. If you point out that that's disgusting, the response is, but that's because he was so poor he couldn't afford something to wipe himself on. It's like, really? He couldn't afford a rag. All the military campaigns these guys are going on, and he gets he gets a fifth of the war booty. He can't say, can someone please give me a rag so I don't have to keep wiping all this stuff all over my clothes? Nasty dude.
We should create a feature documentary with a very serious tone, or even write a book that is called Uncovering the Origins of the Semen on Muhammad's Clothes.
Yeah, but you're right. Be totally serious and like, according to this hadith, blah 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 blah. But this hadith has a weak narrator right here, and so it can't be trusted. And
like an investigation into a like a very big serious case. Like
yeah,
a
and
crime
release like a 176-page report documenting our findings. That would be awesome. Your buddy Sean here says, David gonna jizz you all over the black stone. No, but I might throw it in a vat of pig intestines if my demands are not met once I have it. But yes, I will have it. That will be mine. I'm going to have that black stone. Arya says, don't you think this is Muslim reform, AP? There are 2 billion Muslims. You can't have all of them believing in 7th century beliefs. Don't you think it's about time?
Well, of course, I've always said that slowly Islam is bound to change, and right now, I think with all the developments happening in the world, it's probably going to speed up more and more and exponentially be, you know, you will see a faster decline of this religion, and by decline, I'm not just I don't mean necessarily only that the numbers will decrease, but that the religion itself will change and weaken from the Islamic perspective, and get better from a more human perspective. That's what we are all looking for. Any corruption of Islam is, in my opinion, a good thing.
And yeah, as far as most of what lots of people would be concerned about as far as Islam is Islam's actually attempting to dominate the world and thinking they're actually going to successfully subjugate people and implement Sharia and all this stuff. If Islam can get past that, people wouldn't have as much of a problem with it. But in order to do that, it's like they have to lose, right? They have to lose this attempt at like the Ali Dawa approach. We're gonna people gonna convert because of our tolerance. And hey, we're going to kill so many people and subjugate so many people, and this is going to bring about the Islamic revival. They have to lose that one, and then realize, okay, we can't compete. We can't subjugate people. It's not going to happen, and then it would be a bit more of a manageable problem.
The thing is also, people don't realize what we have actually done. You and I and others who participated in some of the actions that are considered extremely disrespectful and insulting to Islam, like the drawing cartoons, I don't know, making songs. But you and we did the whole Quran ripping things and projects like that. I feel like we ourselves are not even aware sometimes of the thing that we are doing by doing that, the change that we are creating by just doing that. We are causing a massive change in the Islamic sentiment in only a few years by defiantly ripping up the Quran, disrespecting the Quran whenever we are disrespected or something like that. The first time we did that, there was a massive outcry. People went nuts over it. I remember my video getting spammed and going viral and being attacked by, I don't know, Indonesian, Malaysian Muslims and things like that, getting all kinds of threats. Now nobody cares when we do it. Nobody cares.
No one notices.
It's not brought up. Nobody even notices, and that is the fantastic.
We've trained them. We've made them get used to it.
Yes.
You're right. It's all these things play a role, and people don't see it, but we're kind of systematic, right? And that we'll examine a dawah lie, something that is giving them this false confidence in Islam. We'll examine it, and it's just we understand. Okay, that has spread to over 1 billion people who take it seriously. It's going to be some work to get past that. And so we'll just be relentless and people are coming. So you can take something as an example. 20 years ago, there's this myth of perfect preservation. There's never been a single letters difference between any 2 Quran manuscripts anywhere in the history of the Quran. It's completely false. I mean, insanely false, ridiculously false. But that's what was preached to Muslims. And so most Muslims aren't listening to us. So how do we actually undermine that? Well, we just got to be relentless, and people are coming at it in completely different directions. There's some of us are going Some of us are showing Muslim sources which talk about changes in the Quran and verses being eaten by sheep and large passages coming up missing. Some people are going through the manuscripts and like Dan Brubaker and so on. He's putting manuscripts side by side saying, this is not that. This is different. These are different. So he's pointing those things out and so on. And then Hatun showing up to Speaker's Corner with 26 different Arabic Qurans. And she said, point to any two of these. I will show you differences between them. And then you get the attempt to rescue and salvage the view. And Mohammed Hijab gets Sheikh Yasser Qadi on there. Then you get the holes in the narrative interview. And it's like it all comes together and the claim collapses. Now you'll still occasionally see people online, but I used to hear that like 50 times a day. Now I hear it like once a month about the perfect preservation of the Quran. And it's someone who hasn't been paying attention. Same thing with the scientific miracles. They spent decades with these scientific miracles and having their people like go through the Quran and anything they can twist into a scientific miracle, put it out there because people are just eating it up. And Zakir Naik's going out there and putting it all over the world and convincing all these people there's scientific miracles. So what do? We're just got to be relentless and keep coming after it, keep coming after it, keep coming after it. And eventually, even Ali Dawa, okay, it's all absolute nonsense. And so it breaks, but that's the pattern. It's lie, they lie. And then we spend a couple decades dealing with it, and then it finally collapses. But notice it all eventually collapses. And the rate at which these things collapse seems to be accelerating because more and more people are like their confidence in the Dawah guys is being shaken simultaneously. Once you find out that Dawah guy lied to you about perfect preservation, and he lied to you about the scientific miracles in the Quran and so on, then the next thing he's saying, well, we become more believable because we're the ones telling them the truth all along. We were telling them the truth. Their Dawah guys were lying. And what seemed crazy for a while is the Dawah guys would finally admit that it was all a lie, in which actually shows that we were right. But people would go right back to the same Dawah guys and continue believing them. It's like insane, but it's clearly shaking their confidence. But anyway, guys, so yes, it's systematic. You know what's going on this year? We're going to crush the Quran on the crucifixion of Jesus. Watch it happen. It's all happening this year. And more recently, if you look at the past couple of years, they started defending child marriage. Why? 15 years ago, no, that's a lie. Islam doesn't teach that. Now they're all shouting it from the rooftops. Why? We forced them into defending it. We turned it into a main objection against Islam. And we didn't let them lie about it, and now they actually are forced into defending. We're like taking little pieces of Islam left and right? It's like, and we're taking another little piece of it, and we're taking another little piece of it, and then snatching another little piece of it, and then so yeah, this year, we're going to see how long it takes. We're going to crush what the Quran says about the crucifixion, or at least crush what Islam believes about what the Quran says. Then it's going to be getting them to acknowledge that the Quran affirms the Bible. Then it's going to be the collapse of the claim that Muhammad is in the Bible. It's watch it happen. It's all here.
I want to get back to doing the whole name of Allah thing once again and hammer on that.
We should revisit that. We should watch your video and discuss the points.
We shall.
We should do that in a live stream.
We shall.
So anyway, all right. Well, yeah, we should jump into the Harris video. We'll take a couple more super chats real quick and then jump into the Harris video.
Inshallah.
Metallica had a concert. Metallica had a concert in Antarctica, so it's very surprising that they would go to Saudi Arabia.
What? In Antarctica?
Did they? It wouldn't surprise you. They're kind of outside the box dudes.
Who went there to listen?
Penguins. We did a concert for the Penguins. First, Saudi allows WWE female superstars to wrestle live. Now bikini beaches. Where will it go next? I know. Like, what if they leapfrog over Western nations and just
Wait, WWE female is almost the same as allowing bikinis. So
yeah.
I didn't even know about that.
And yeah, I didn't see any of this stuff, but I remember that. And I was like, wait, they're having all this stuff. They're having all this, like WWE is having this, having these agreements with Saudi Arabia, doing all this stuff. It's crazy fast changes.
Crazy.
White Lily says Muslims be like Saudi Arabia allowed women to drive and everything went downhill from there. You see what happens.
There are lots of Daniel Kikic is one of the loudest right now in terms of condemning Saudi Arabia for whatever they do. Like, they're betraying Islam. They are listening to the kuffar. They
Yes.
are leading kufr. They're leading people astray.
Soon they won't let me marry an 11-month-old baby anymore. Then what?
What has this world come to?
I need some comfort, McDonald's. Saudi also opened its first liquor place. Yeah, I think in Riyadh. Yeah, so there are places where you can actually buy liquor now in Saudi Arabia. Atheism is a non-profit institution, yet behold, it has gained a bikini prophet and AP, the most respected prophet.
Alhamdulillah.
A lot of this is awesome, yet feel icky celebrating too much because of the assassinations of Jamal Khashoggi. Help me make sense of it. And I think
I don't really care about Khashoggi.
yeah, AP doesn't care about people being brutally murdered by the Saudi regime. And I think Harris brings that up here as well. That I think that falls into the idea that he is a dictator, right? So I mean, Saddam would have you assassinated. Saddam was also keeping the jihadis in check. So it kind of goes with the territory of the only person who could not be a devout Muslim and maintain control of an area like this is someone who's kind of a brutal dictator. But those are also the guys who can keep the jihadis in check are kind of the same people who will go have someone assassinated for messing with them. So, yeah, you kind of have to take the total, you have to take the whole package there. It's a package deal. Brutal guy towards certain people. Yeah.
The issue with the Khashoggi guy is that on the one hand, yeah, it's a terrible thing that the world shouldn't just forget and move on from, because it's an actual government that is an ally of our nations, for example, directly killing, brutally murdering, and then trying to hide a journalist, supposedly. On the other hand, there is too much dirty stuff involved there in that whole conflict for me to actually care about the guy who was killed, because he was working for, as it seems, the Muslim Brotherhood, and there was apparently a whole thing taking place, like a whole internal conflict taking place. It wasn't just about the government, killing a journalist. It was much more than that.
Yeah. So AP, you heard it here, folks. AP thinks it's okay to kill certain people for if he doesn't like them.
Yeah, that's totally what I said.
All right, so yeah, let's start watching Harris's video, and we'll get back to some super chats. Here we go. Harris Sultan commenting on this video.
Hi guys, this is Harris Sultan, and I've got another good news for you. The birthplace of Islam, Saudi Arabia, is being run by a man which I have believed for a very long time.
It's funny, you said birthplace, and then the Twitter logo popped up, a little bird.
That he's an ex-Muslim, and not just an ex-Muslim, but an atheist as well. So even though I had this inkling, but I didn't have any evidence for that, but the evidence has been lying in plain sight for so long. I just found this video that was published nearly 5 years ago.
Oh,
by
that's crazy. I didn't even notice that because Black Angel sent me the link. I didn't know that was 5 years. That changes now it's more believable, because he said it before you had all of this wave of rapid changes. He's saying, so this guy's saying over 5 years ago, he's saying, guys, this guy actually is trying to undermine Islam from within because he doesn't actually believe in it. And he's trying to destroy Islam from within. And then you got all those changes after the guy said, oh, that makes it more believable.
Nice.
Wow.
a Saudi man where he's saying that he heard from a former CIA spy who is now a US congressman. He told this guy, what? Have a listen to it.
Said he is a US congressman, former CIA. Well, that should kind of limit narrow it down. We could probably figure out who this is. It's a U.S. congressman. Although if it's if he was a CIA spy, we might not know that he was in the CIA. I don't know.
اللي أصبح الآن عضو في الكونغرس تكلم قال قابلت محمد بن سلمان قبل سنة ونص تقريبا.
Hey, I told you that spy story. Did I tell you that spy story about the guy who the U.S. spy who went to Iran from Germany? Did I tell you that story?
I don't remember.
I must have told you it because it was a guy from Germany, so it was definitely a story right up your alley. Anyway, I'll tell it again for people who are not familiar with this. In college, I took a class that was taught by a congressman, Professor Whitehurst, and Professor Whitehurst was a congressman.
Making up names like White Meat, Whitehurst. Yeah.
Nope, it's Whitehurst. You can actually look him up. He's a congressman for many years, and he was on the House Armed Services, Foreign Services Committee, or whatever that is. But he was the one, and so he wrote a book about all his interactions with foreign leaders over all these years. It's called Diary of a Congressman, and so on. Anyway, he was teaching, but he would tell us all these awesome stories about these things that are going on with Congress, and then the CIA and sending in spies and stuff. And he said, when you sent a spy to Iran in the 80s, you didn't send them from the U.S. because they would be pegged as spies. So you send them from Germany, right? So you give them a German passport and have them go to Iran from Germany, and that way there aren't red flags going up with him and so on. So anyway, but it's the U.S. making fake passports, so they're good at that. So they make their guy a fake German passport. The guy goes to Germany. He flies from Germany to Iran. He gets there. They don't bother him when he gets there. He goes into Iran, does whatever he's doing, gathers whatever information it was. He's about to leave. He goes to the airport and hands in. The guy asks to see his passport, and the agent was a smart one. The agent looks at it and he goes, "This is fake. Where did you get this?" so it's a CIA agent being pegged as having a fake German passport in Iran. The guy goes, "This is fake. Where did you get this?" And the guy had to think very quickly. And the agent explains it. And he goes, "You have a middle initial on your passport. German passports print full names. They don't use middle initials. So where did you get this?" Right?
Wow.
And he said the guy had to do quick thinking. And he pulled it off. He says, yeah, look, sir, look at my middle initial. It's H. Look at the year I was born. This was when Hitler was in power. My parents gave me the middle name Hitler. And so I had to petition the German government to just use the initial because I'm so humiliated by that name. The guy says, "Oh, okay, that makes sense." And he handed it back to him. The guy went off. But he said none of that was planned. He just looked in his brain, what am I going to say? And rolled with it. And anyway, the Congressman Whitehurst he was saying, and that was probably, we have lots of examples of how quick these guys were because CIA spies are really, really smart. But he goes, that was probably like the example of the best quick thinking on your feet that I ever saw.
That's a pretty impressive story, although it sounds pretty fictional. Yeah.
Nope. I got it from a congressman, and I'm not like this guy saying, "Oh, I got it from a congressman." No, I actually got it from a congressman. By the way, it was cool. I actually had to go and tell him when my wife's mom heard that I was taking a class with and I said, "My Professor Whitehurst," and she goes, "Is that Congressman Whitehurst?" And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Oh." And then her parents told me the story. This was years ago. It was right after interracial marriages became legal in Virginia, but they had met in the UK. My wife's parents met in the UK. So her mom was Filipino, but she was studying in the UK. Her dad was in the military. He was in the UK. They met and they wanted to get married here in the US, but her Filipino family was very suspicious. You have to get married on this day or none else in the year because every other day is bad luck. So it had to be on this particular day. And they filled out all the paperwork and it couldn't work. They didn't work. They couldn't get here in time. So they're going to have to wait another year. So he went into the congressman. He goes to his local congressman. He's like, "I need to get her here and I can't get the paperwork because she hasn't been approved for all this stuff." And he said, Congressman Whitehurst calls his secretary, says, "Come in here." He goes, "The first thing we need to do is pray about this." And he said, all of a sudden the congressman joins hands with him. and he's asking God to bless this situation so everything can work out. And anyway, he said then the dude like pulled some strings and got her here on time so they could have the wedding on time on the only day it was acceptable. And I told him that in class after they told me, and he had no recollection of it and stuff. He goes, I said, hey, I just want you to know, I just got married and it's all because of you. And he goes, what? And I said, yeah, years ago. And he goes, oh, let me guess. Some people had some trouble and I was able to pull some strings to get it taken care of. He goes, I don't remember, but yeah, I did that a lot. So anyway, that's a cool guy.
So that's how MBS became an atheist.
Yeah, exactly. And he's probably a CIA spy.
Huh. That makes sense. See?
Got all that?
Yeah.
All right. Back to...
We're almost at 3,000 viewers, man. Look at that.
Are we? Wow. Hey, I wonder if MBS is watching with us, huh? Hey, you watching there? You watching there? Hey,
MBS is watching our videos.
Anyone watching from Bikini Beach over there? We got any Bikini Beach watchers? Anyone over there at the local liquor store in Saudi Arabia? Drinking a little whiskey? Having a Jack and Coke, watching us over there in Saudi Arabia, because that's how things are going.
Yeah.
Nice. Anyway, guys, watch this first, and then you can go watch Iggy Azalea twerk.
I can't. Aren't we going to do that here? I thought that's what we're doing.
No, we're not going to watch it. That's the only reason you showed up. See, that's messed up. By the way, I see people who've been signing up as channel members. When we're done, just keep in mind there is a video. It will be public tomorrow. I'll make it public tomorrow morning. But there's been a video up this weekend that channel members have access to. But it's pretty dope, I have to say. All right, let's back to...
Is it about Iggy Azalea?
Yes, the whole video is about Iggy Azalea. It's the only way I can get AP to click on anything.
Okay, let's continue.
وحكى لي كلام خطير. هو بنفسه يقول قال لي المشكلة ليست في المتطرفين والمشكلة ليست في الجماعات الجهادية المشكلة في الإسلام نفسه.
Wow, this is exactly how an ex-Muslim's mind works. This is exactly what we say. It's not about these radical Muslims, these jihadis, these extremists. They're just the symptoms of a much bigger disease, which is this ideology that we all call Islam.
Actually, that does add, Harris is right, that does add a little bit of credibility to what the guy's saying. He's saying in other words, it doesn't sound like a caricature, like a Muslim mind, of a guy with a Muslim mind, his caricature of what a closet atheist would be saying. He's saying that behind the scenes, MBS is saying, guys, you in the West need to understand the problem is not with the extremists. The problem is actually with Islam itself. There are problems in Islam. That's standard among ex-Muslims. Ex-Muslims say, and Harris is right, and you agree, and that's what I see from the ex-Muslims. They finally realize, wait a minute, it's not the problem with extremists. There is a problem within Islam itself.
It is Islam.
And so the guy saying that that's what the position is and not coming up with some like insane version of what MBS is saying behind the scenes. I don't know. Yeah.
That makes sense.
I'm going to go from a 3 on how reliable I think the guy in the video is, like a 3 to like a 4, maybe. Yeah, probably a 4 on how reliable he is. But keep in mind, as far as MBS being a closet ex-Muslim, I think that's like in the 7 to 8 range.
I stay on 5. I still stay on 5. I cannot move on from that yet.
Because he's a skeptic.
Yep.
Where does jihad come from? Why does a man become a jihadi? After reading Islam, he becomes a radical extremist. He becomes a fundamentalist.
Look how hard he's trying to be me. Yeah.
He's trying to be you.
And then he goes out in the big wide world and he causes what we call corruption. Yeah. So this is what MBS is saying to a former CIA operative who is now a US congressman.
I feel like I'm watching AP. I feel like I'm watching AP from 3 years ago.
عليكم أن تتعاونوا معنا أيها الحكومات الغربية حتى نساعد في تغيير
so that we can reform Islam itself.
هو الرجل الآن يصرح لهذا الشخص ما لم يصرحه لغيره أنه يجد في المشكلة في الإسلام نفسه.
So not only the fact that he's an ex-Muslim atheist, but he also wants the West's support to help him reform Islam.
فالرجل قد نذر نفسه.
Oh, that also makes sense. See, yeah, I'm thinking, why would he be saying this to these guys? It does kind of fit, right? Like, hey, if I'm a Muslim leader in a country and I don't actually believe in Islam, but I have the ability and the power to make some changes, it would be cool to be working with Western nations to make this happen. And you see him working with, like WWE and promoting concerts and things like that. But it also makes perfect sense that he'd be working with politicians and the CIA and everything else. And hey, we're gonna bring Saudi Arabia into the 21st century. We're gonna make it happen so fast, no one can stop it. Wow,
That's the only way. You can't achieve that by yourself. You have to, you have to do that.
wow. This is interesting stuff to me.
من أجل أن يغير الدين والعياذ بالله حتى يخلص الدين، يخلص المسلمين. يعني اكتنفه جنون العظمة فظن أنه سيفعل ما لم يفعله الأوائل، لكنك ليس من الواقع أن تغير الإسلام نفسه، ما تستطيع. يعني مهما بذلت جهدا لن تستطيع أن تغير الإسلام نفسه. ما 1400 سنة جربها غيرك وجربها آخرون حتى في بداية الإسلام ولم يستطيعوا.
And then he goes on to say that, oh, look, people have tried that before. It hasn't happened before. This guy is crazy. He's a fool. And it's never going to happen again. Well, there is a key difference that these people always overlook. And this hubris is fast becoming the cause of their downfall. As I've shown this Pew survey before, from 2017, mind you, there has been a net deficit of people leaving Islam than people converting to Islam.
No, Islam is the world's fastest growing religion. It will conquer the world.
How dare you? Stop lying.
This does have to, yes. And I actually don't even hear that as much as I used to. It used to be Islam is the world's fastest growing religion. And they would always misrepresent it as it's the fastest growing religion because of conversions, when it's the fastest growing religion because of high Muslim birth rates, because of the impact that Islam has on women, focuses on turning them into baby making machines and marrying them off when they're super young and so on. And you could have 1, 2, 3, or 4 wives, and you could trade those wives out pretty regularly. So yeah, you can end up with guys who have 60 or 70 children. And what happens? Islam grows rapidly. So it wasn't conversions. But we've noticed as the apostasy rate accelerates, it's like you're gonna reach a point where the high birth rates can no longer offset the number of people leaving the religion. And that's when it tips. And I haven't seen any super recent statistics, so I don't know exactly when that is, or possibly if it's already happened.
Yeah, that's what they do.
High birth rates. Lars Seth said the OG, it's original gangsta, AP, looks pale in comparison to Harris.
Well, it's been years and years. I get tired. Now you have the new model, Harris Sultan. Yeah, it works better too.
Mm-hmm. So AP is pale. But notice, since AP is paler, he's more like Mohammed, so more authentic.
Yes.
More authentically Islamic.
That is true. For
example, if 40,000 people converted to Islam, then 200,000 people left Islam. And that's a Pew survey from 2017 in Europe. Imagine how bad it is going to be now. It reminds me of an interesting quote from Mariam Namazi, who said that social media is doing to Islam what printing press did to Christianity.
All right.
I was with you right up until that. Harris. You could have said other things about Christianity declining in certain areas, but the printing press. So 1436 AP. You heard it from Harris. 1436, Christianity collapsed because people started printing Bibles.
That is something that I expect Mariam Namazi to say, who I'm totally not a fan of. it's not good that Harris Sultan repeats it, but yeah, I had I have a similar internal reaction, and I knew immediately that they lost you here. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, guys, there are areas where Christianity has declined and so on. Most of that is pretty recent and not in 1436. Christianity was pretty booming for a long, long time.
Maybe you should ask Mariam Namazi why the printing press happened.
Yeah, and when those darn Christians started printing stuff on their dang printing press, that was the end of Christianity. And now we're seeing the same thing in Islam, where as soon as social media started, Islam started collapsing, like within 2 decades.
Yeah. That's a myth. For those who still hold on to that, that is a myth. That it's the printing press didn't like bring about the decline of Christianity or anything like that. That's not what happened.
Yeah.
And I say this as an atheist.
He says it as an atheist, but this is what I was talking about. So we were just talking about that. We're just talking about that dude, and we're like, oh, but he's saying something. The guy is saying he got some information about MBS and being an ex-Muslim, but the position he said the guy was that MBS was communicating to Western leaders is exactly what you would expect from an ex-Muslim. I mean, it's a completely realistic picture of what an ex-Muslim would be saying. And I pointed out, it's not some wild like caricature. But then you got Harris, and he's given like a caricature of what he thinks happened, like spouting atheist myths. So we still love you, Harris, but you got some work to do.
Inshallah.
Got some work to do.
Unfortunately, printing press could not damage Islam the way it damaged Christianity because
1436, the end of Christianity began.
Because, first of all, the Ottomans didn't even introduce the printing press for another 100 years or so because they said that Arabic is God's language and we can't cheapen it by printing it. And then secondly, literacy did not really flourish in the Muslim world. So people were not reading. So the primary understanding of Islam came from the so-called scholars of Islam. And as Yasir Qadhi said, that there are certain things that we keep to ourselves amongst our intellectual circles. Certain things.
It's really good how he ties this in. So he's talking about the past, that they didn't. The Muslim world was more reluctant to print books, and literacy didn't really spread. Which those two are tied together. If you're not printing books, then books are really much harder to come by if you don't have a printing press, because people have to copy them by hand. And so it's not, you don't end up with tons of bookshelves of people who have piles and piles of books around them. If everything is written by hand, you have to be very wealthy to even have a book. But he ties it in. He ties it into Sheikh Yasir Qadhi which is funny because we already brought it up a little bit as the sort of the beginning of the end for the claim of the perfect preservation of the Quran, when Yasir Qadhi was basically begging Mohammed Hijab, can you stop asking me these questions? This is not wise. This is not wise to be having this discussion. Ask me afterwards in private. You can't be doing this now. And Mohammed Hijab, let me ask a follow-up question. So what'd you say? And he just didn't get it. He didn't get it. And then Yasir Qadhi had to take down his video. Hijab had to take down his video. Yasir Qadhi then started having anyone blocked people who were posting clips from the video. He was citing copyright infringement, even though it's not, and he knew that. He knew he was falsely accusing people of copyright infringement and so on. But he was saying during that you don't explain this to the masses. This is something for scholars to try and figure out. You can't have this discussion in the public. You're going to be spreading doubts, which is exactly what it did once people found out about that. So yeah, Harris is pointing out Islam has always had this issue of the scholars wanting to hide stuff from the popular level Muslims, and that once you don't have that anymore, once you have literacy and as he's pointing out, social media, you can't hide it anymore. It doesn't work.
So we don't tell the ordinary public. If we had a culture of reading and writing as it was in the West, then this apostasy movement would have started a lot earlier in the Muslim world, but it didn't happen. And it still hasn't happened in the Muslim world. So, okay, the printing press didn't do anything to Islam, but social media is definitely doing it.
I would say it would be very bad if the printing press did to, or if the internet or social media did to Islam what the printing press did to Christianity. It wouldn't be
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
It would be bad
Yeah.
because that would mean that it would spread Islam to places where it wasn't before, or that it would spread a closer understanding, and that it would also bring forth a revival of Islamic, I don't know, attempts to bring Islam back to its origins and all of that, because that's actually what happened with the printing press. So in Christianity, and you don't want that with Islam.
Yeah, correct. And but what Harris is pointing out here is really a huge issue as far as what that sheikh was saying. That sheikh was saying that, hey, Islam has been here for 14 centuries. Lots of people have tried to destroy it. Lots of people have thought they were going to change it. It hasn't worked, and therefore, kings today can't do it either. It's not going to happen today. And Harris is pointing out, this is like no other time in the past 14 centuries. You are in a different period. What's the difference? For the entire 14 centuries of Islam, Muslim leaders were able to keep their people pretty well insulated from, one, hearing criticisms of Islam, and two, of hearing a serious presentation of alternatives to Islam. Because you could be a preacher of some different religion or viewpoint and start spreading it. If you were remotely successful, they're going to chop your head off. So they were able to do that for 14 centuries, and now all of a sudden they can't do it anymore. They can't stop it. And so this guy's saying, but for 14 centuries, yeah, things have changed. You are no longer in those 14 centuries. You're in right now, and this is a completely different world. And Islam seems to be crumbling from within pretty darn rapidly. So you probably this confidence you have, well, it's Islam's lasted 14 centuries, therefore it's not going to change. Pretty dumb.
Terrible.
Let's take a couple super chats here and then continue with Harris.
Inshallah.
Your buddy Sean says, you should ask Dr. Mordecai Kidar about the changes in Saudi Arabia. He is the best expert from Israel about the Middle East and Islam. Is he still in Saudi Arabia? Because maybe we could have a chat with him. I mean, is he still in, where is he?
Israel, you mean?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw Saudi Arabia. I was like, wait, is it in Saudi Arabia? I glanced at it. I said, wait, Saudi Arabia? Okay, so from Israel. Is he in Israel?
We're going to Saudi Arabia? I didn't know that.
We might. We go roll at Bikini Beach with MBS, man. Be kicking back with some whiskey.
Yeah.
Doing MBS there, doing Jello shots of some hop off Iggy Azalea or something like that. Who knows what this guy's doing? Didn't the UAE recently open up a Hindu temple?
UAE has been very, 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 very much. There's also a whole idea that Saudi Arabia might be trying to go faster than the UAE in modernizing and westernizing, because the UAE has been making like giant steps toward.
Which makes sense, because they have these connections with like India and so on, as far as, and lots of people like putting their money there, and they have all of these agreements where they bring in, they send India oil, and India sends workers to the UAE, so they have lots of Indian workers in the UAE, and so kind of makes sense that they would go in that direction.
Yeah, I think most of UAE's workforce is foreign. Many of them are Indian. The Arab population there is not necessarily very efficient. Yeah, so that is happening. So it sounds plausible that the UAE would do that.
What happened to Wahhabism? Well, it's not working.
Oh, how dare you say that? Wahhabism is the best. I mean, what can you say? It's Wahhabism is what Saudi Arabia basically adopted and then decided to strictly run with after the events of the 70s, and is also at the core of the brutal literalism and legalism of the Islam in Saudi Arabia, which they also have been spreading to the rest of the world through massive fundings in universities and things like that, which is how the Salafi movement and Salafi way of thinking in Islam has become so dominant and so prominent around the world, which is why many of these Muslim apologists that are known nowadays are Salafis. This is actually very much Saudi Arabia's fault. But it looks like for them at home it doesn't work.
Yeah, wouldn't it suck if they like exported this crap to the rest of the world and then they're like, oh, this doesn't work. Let's clean this mess up here, but it's like already spread to the rest of the world.
It looks like that's how it's going, and Islam in general, like, goes like that. It spreads to the rest of the world, and then where it's actually at home, people are abandoning it.
Mm-hmm. Crumbling from within. Meanwhile, we're stuck out here with Mohammed Hijab and Ali Dawa and Daniel Hakikachu and Sheikh Uthman.
Monkeys. Yeah.
Wow. Robin Hood says, have to listen later, but wanted to drop off some shekels. Thank you guys for what you do. Yes, notice it's Robin Hood dropping off the shekels. So he probably robbed them from Gaza and then sent them to us.
Nice.
Super chat. No comment there. Emmanuel says, how Muslims view temporary marriage in different nations? Only Shia Iran it's allowed. Is prostitution allowed in Saudi Arabia and UAE in the name of temporary marriage? You know anything about this?
It's not, and they view it very negatively. Prostitution or anything like that is also not allowed, but there is a lot of
it happens anyway.
You might have seen videos of these very weird parties going on with women in, very much covered up, but twerking and doing weird things like that. So there are some interestingly weird sexual things going on in these countries among certain classes of society. But officially, the religious position and the societal position on the whole thing is that they shun it and condemn it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I've seen. I don't know about the legal status in various countries and so on, but you have these issues wherever there was a war, like a war in Syria and so on, and you end up with all these poor starving kids. You'd end up with all these wealthy Muslim businessmen and so on coming from different places and doing mutta marriages with these poor girls in order to feed their families and so on. So it's a practice that is alive and well, doesn't mean it's not frowned upon. But at the end of the day, so yes, it's Shias generally believe it's still allowed, but Sunnis, it's debatable in the sources. You have all these hadiths that say Muhammad forbade the practice. You have other hadiths that say, no, it wasn't Muhammad who forbade the practice. It was a later caliph who forbade the practice. And then it was sort of rewritten as if Muhammad did it in order to discredit it. And so as far as you as an individual Muslim and what you're supposed to do, it basically comes down to whether you want to do it or not. If you want to do it, you can find justification for doing it because you can say, actually, this hadith is just as reliable as that hadith. And this hadith says it wasn't Muhammad. Muhammad affirmed it and never forbade it. It was a later Muslim caliph. I'm not letting some later Muslim caliph overrule what Muhammad has said.
The thing is, Sunni scholars condemn it very much. That's
exactly what you'll hear from Sunni scholars. No, Muhammad forbade the practice. But basically, if someone wants to do it, they can find the justification and say that's this hadith says it was a later prohibition.
Alhamdulillah.
Bella says all these Islamic countries are changing also thanks to you guys and people like Sam Shamoon, Spencer, and others, and the one and only Christian Prince. Yeah, and that's one of the things that's going on. This avalanche of apostasy, you're ending up with all these apostates. You have lots of apostates who just, they leave Islam and then they go about their lives and so on. You end up with there's a tiny percentage that actually become like vocal ex-Muslims trying to expose Islam. And so that's one of the things that has changed. 15 years ago, there were not a lot of people dealing with Islam regularly. Now there are tons. And it's cool.
And that's the beauty of Islam.
And think about this. What happens in a place like Saudi Arabia when apostasy when it becomes okay, when they realize we can't just keep covering up all of these apostates. We need to make it legal to be an ex-Muslim. We need to make it legal to be an atheist now, and all these other things, and to criticize Islam. Gosh, Islam would just implode almost instantly if the laws were changed to allow all the ex-Muslims to come out. Because keep in mind, if you're talking about 5 to 9 or 5 to 10% of the population of Saudi Arabia actually being ex-Muslim atheists, but they're not allowed to speak, what happens if all of a sudden they're allowed to speak? A percentage of that 5 to 10% of atheists are actually going to become pretty vocal in criticizing what they've had to keep their mouths shut about for a long time. So,
Alhamdulillah, inshallah.
Jizya from Mars or Daily Wire and Associated Press? Jizya from Mars. Oh, for Daily Wire and Associated Press. Yeah, I'm Daily Wire and you're Associated Press. That's funny.
Nice, nice.
What an AP. If the trajectory continues, the Zabubas of Shake Your Booty will make my leather straps give up and open a fountain of brown Zemzem. What is this? got one of your fans over here.
That's
Guys,
a beautiful comment, man. What are you talking about?
This is what happens when you do shows with an atheist. His fans come over, and this is what happened.
Beautiful.
Salman is Arab. Is MBS the Arab Ataturk?
No.
No. So you're not confirming?
No.
Okay.
No.
Daniel Hakikachu thrilled about Saudi beach. More women on the beach means more strollers also.
I was wondering where this is going.
Yeah. Mo women, mo strollers.
Oh my God.
What is up with these guys? Hey, here's Dimos here says, did you hear the recent stories of Palestinians protesting against Hamas up into including them shouting slogans like death to Hamas?
Yeah, there are videos going around of Gazan people who are led to safe zones, shouting all kinds of things like shame on Hamas, down with Hamas, death to Hamas, and so on. People are sick of Hamas, it looks like. The bad thing is there is still a lot of support in Gaza for Hamas. According to the polls in December, the majority, over 50%, still approved of Hamas. But there is a significant population, like around 40%, that says they don't want Hamas anymore. They don't like Hamas. And given that Hamas's actions have basically led to the destruction of much of Gaza, it makes sense that there is an increasing dissatisfaction and increasing anger toward Hamas, because Hamas basically promised, they made this look like this is our final move. We will rise up and we will destroy and we will free ourselves from the Zionist occupation, and they didn't get anything done. On the contrary, they led to the destruction of Gaza altogether, and
that is a huge point. Hey guys, back us and we'll destroy Israel. Great, let's support these guys. They're going to destroy Israel. Oh wait, Israel's fine and we're destroyed? Hey, you didn't say you were going to get our buildings leveled.
The bad thing about it is that those people who say down with Gaza, destroy Gaza, down with Hamas, destroy Hamas, are not saying this because they want peace and they want to make peace with Israel and they're reasonable. They are just saying that because they are disillusioned with the solution that Hamas offered.
Yeah. By the way, notice the pattern, because we were talking about that MBS is basically the sort of person who could maintain control, even if it becomes a widespread theory that he's actually a closeted ex-Muslim atheist. Even if that becomes, he's the sort of person who can be brutal enough to not let it stop him. But you had Saddam Hussein in Iraq, Assad over here, you had Gaddafi, and these guys didn't seem to care a whole lot about Islam. But they were all in countries where you had lots of people who want to go around killing other people. There were people who wanted to kill Christians. There were Muslims who wanted to kill Muslims from different sects of Islam. Do not smile about that, AP, because I said the word sects. But here's what you happen. So in a place like, let's say, Iraq, Iraq is different from lots of other Muslim countries in that you had a ton of Sunnis and a ton of Shias all in the same country. So kind of difficult. But if you suppose you just have a tiny percentage of Sunnis who actually want to go and kill Shias and a tiny percentage of Shias who want to go kill Sunnis, if they start killing each other, that can escalate very quickly. So suppose you had 1% of the Sunni population who wanted to go kill Shias and 1% of the Shia population who wanted to go and kill Sunnis. You have to keep those people under control, because if you let them get started and this 1% goes and blows up a Shia mosque, all of a sudden that 1% of Shias who wanted to go and kill some Sunnis, that goes up to 10%, because now they're feeling like they're being attacked. So things can escalate very quickly. You had you had these people, and you have a guy who's so brutal that everyone's terrified of him, and they don't want to start the violence because he'll just crush you. He'll crush you. And then we have the brilliant idea, why don't we get rid of that guy? Get rid of that guy, and then freedom and democracy will flourish. What actually happens? They start blowing up each other's mosques, and we're going, what's going on? And then you end up, then you try to make a Western government, what happens? ISIS takes over. Yeah. So why? Because you got rid of the brutal dictator who, in addition to everything else he was doing, and tons of it is evil, he was also keeping so he was brutal towards everyone, but that included the jihadis, and they knew it, and so they had to lay low. But it's this pattern that the only way to keep the jihadis who want to go on a killing spree in check is to have some force over them that terrifies them. And it's like, okay, we want to kill, but it's just, we can't do it. We can't do it. We'll get crushed. And so those are the people and groups and governments who can actually maintain some level of order in that area. But notice everyone's telling Israel, don't be too brutal. Well, if that's the only thing that Hamas would possibly understand, like, what else are you supposed to do?
Has to come to it.
Would love to see the camel boy in sadist Arabia. You mean cowboy, the Muslim cowboy? Hey, Muslim cowboy, you could go play your guitar there now in Saudi Arabia because they allow music.
A Muslim cowboy?
You can go, hey, and since they're allowing bikinis and music and dancing now, we can go do your square dance. Yeehaw!
Yeah.
All right, guys, now that AP is gone, we can get serious about these atheists corrupting our channels. You have MBS corrupting Saudi Arabia. AP corrupting this channel. Oh, he's back. Oh, there we go. Howdy, partner.
Yeah, Muslim cowboy.
Hey, this one's about you, AP.
Muslim cowboy. What?
Deja Vu said, hey, I'm hearing an echo.
Oh, sorry.
Take off your stupid hat and put your headphones on. Okay, here we go.
Fine, man.
It looks good. You just have to get like a size 1 million that fits over headphones. I have to do it too.
I know. I have to do that. I need to find some.
Hey, Deja Vu Disciple here says, AP's homophobic speech hurts my unbiased ears.
What homophobic speech? Which homophobic
I don't remember, but I take Deja Vu Disciple's word for it. Hey, look at this. You heard this? Years ago, there was a rumor that MBS was a closet Christian. I thought it was absurd, but years later it was confirmed that he bought the most expensive painting, Salvator Mundi.
Well, I would buy that too if I wouldn't buy paintings, but just saying, if I was into buying paintings, I would do that too. That doesn't necessarily mean that
that wouldn't mean you're a Christian, though. You can be an atheist and buy an expensive painting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
So this was a super sticker. Daniel Hakikachu and other supporters of child marriage are secretly working for the Crown Prince to destroy Islam, you see. That would be nice. See, we've been thinking of it in terms of, and guys, joking aside, I don't actually believe that these guys are plants and are deliberately destroying Islam from within. The point is, what they're doing is exactly what I would do if I were trying to destroy Islam from within. So I can see how people would be suspicious. But yeah, we you know, you could put it as a theory that they actually work for the CIA or something like that. But you could say
I know. I
they're
was
secretly
joking.
working. You could see that you could say they're secretly working for MBS to destroy Islam from within.
I was joking about it, but after the recent debate that I had with Daniel Kikachu and the ridiculous things that he said during the debate and how he performed and how he, even when I confronted him on, the lies that he said about the whole conflict, and he refused to correct himself, just laughed it off, and he made himself and Islam and the whole anti-Israel position look so terrible that I feel like it's not possible for a smart person to, be aware of it and continue doing that. So I feel like maybe it is true. Maybe there is something about it. Maybe he is an agent. Maybe he is an asset, and he's being used to make Islam look bad. And I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Could be. There is a possibility. Because if the trajectory continues as it is,
If the trajectory continues,
then it is going to become an avalanche.
we'll see. But check this out. You got this theory that the Crown Prince is actually undercover ex-Muslim. But you can say the same thing about a lot of the rest of these guys.
Yeah.
And you can say they're damaging Islam. They're destroying Islam in different ways. But they're all destroying Islam from within.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
There was a terrorist attack on a Catholic church in Turkey. Yeah, what's up with that, AP? That's your neck of the woods.
When was that?
That was today in Turkey. I think it was only one person killed. It looked like, I saw video footage. It looked like they just kind of walked up to the door and fired bullets in there and everyone hit the deck. You don't even know it. And this is happening in your home country. Wow.
Which church?
Wow.
Huh.
I think it was in Istanbul as well.
I don't care about Turkey at all. I'm not looking at Turkey at all. But
well, you're not coming to Thanksgiving then. What are you laughing at?
Santa Maria Church in Istanbul. Which one is that again?
AP, how much do you know about this channel? Diamond Tima. He's a Turkish agnostic atheist, and by the looks of it, is the largest ex-Muslim channel. You familiar with that?
Yeah. I know the channel. I even interacted with him before. He is a kind of reasonable perspective guy in Turkey. He is an agnostic. He is very smart, very informative.
You said he's an agnostic. How can you then say he's smart? But
no, he's very like he is actually the funny thing about specifically that. Funny that you bring that up is, lots of people will say I'm an agnostic, and by that they just mean I don't know if God exists or not. How would I know? But with him, it's actually a deep dive intellectually, an intellectual deep dive into the actual philosophical idea of agnosticism and explaining the depths of why he described himself as an agnostic and not an atheist. And I don't know, the first guy that I have seen to actually dive into what it really means to be an agnostic.
Yeah, so just to clarify for everyone, you could be an agnostic in the sense of like, well, I haven't studied enough to know, to have a good idea of what I can say is true or not. So I just don't know. That's an agnostic. Or you can do a ton of research and say, based on all this, I don't know. I don't know. And I don't have enough confidence in my own cognitive faculty. When I figure out like how much there is that can be known and what percentage of that I actually know, it makes no sense for me to actually say this is the correct position. I don't have that position. So you have a different sort of agnosticism.
I think I has the whole position of like it is unknowable whether there is a God or not. So therefore, for me to say that I am an atheist would be an assertion to know something that is unknowable, which is contradictory to my understanding of the world as it is. Wherefore, I am an agnostic.
Okay. So yeah, you pointed out that he's smart. So we could now it makes sense. You're saying he's way smarter than atheists to actually. Yeah.
Stupid atheists. Yeah.
That's good.
But yeah, no, he's a good guy. He's a YouTuber. He has these things though. He has some of these like Turkish nationalism positions, and which is normal. It's very common for anyone in Turkey to be nationalist. That's how they are. That's what they do.
That's what they do.
That's what they do. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Hey, Noah here. I classify this CIA story as Hassan. That's good. So it's not. So just it's kind of what we were saying, but in a different way. So it's not Sahih. He's not terribly reliable, but he's not daif either. It's not weak. So he's somewhere in the middle.
It is considered good evidence by Islamic standards. Something like that.
Read another couple super chats here, and then we'll get back to Harris. Carl says, it sounds like a power struggle within the Saudi clan. People who want to take down MBS are clearly throwing shade on him. That's what I mean. If he's not saying anything like this, if he's not actually an ex-Muslim and he's not doing this stuff, it's exactly the sort of thing people would throw at him as a criticism if they're part of a different group or part of a different team. But it also makes perfect sense in light of what we know about him that doesn't really believe in Islam. So yeah, you can go in either way. That's why we're kind of like in the middle on what we think about this.
The thing is, I am the leader of ex-Muslims. So if he was an ex-Muslim, I would know it because he would have to register with me, and I haven't been informed yet. Yeah.
You see, Bikini Beach Bar is real Islam. That's what I think that went along with what you were saying earlier, that soon they'll be using this as an argument. Oh, you say Islam is bad. And by the way, it's like Islam goes in these waves where we're really, really strict, and then it gets criticized for being really strict, and then they pretend to be really nice and liberal and so on, and then it gets criticized for being really nice and liberal, and then they go really strict again. And right now they're going in yes, we defend child marriage, and so we'll all start blasting away at it for teaching that it's okay to bang little kids and kill apostates and all this stuff. And then a couple years from now it'll be, look, what are you talking about? Look at Saudi Arabia, that's the heart of the Muslim world, and they got bikini beaches over there sipping on pina colada, so how can you criticize Islam? And then then people will start criticizing Islam for that. And like, what can Islam do for the world when it's just like the entire rest of the world? Oh, look how strict we are. Wow.
Wish you like pina colada.
Wait, I can't even invest my money? Sneeko, yep. Remember Sneeko flipped out? Wait, I can't do it? Correct,
that's
Sneeko.
Ridiculous. What the hell? Yeah.
What does the Quran taste like? Seriously. Tastes like whatever what you think fermented cat urine would taste like. If you're like, what would fermented cat urine mixed with pesticide taste like? That's what the Quran tastes like.
It has a very bad aftertaste.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right. Read this one and then we'll jump back to Harris's video. Is it true that under Jimmy Carter's administration, the Muslim countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan, Iran, Egypt, started to become more Islamic? That's about the correct, you don't have to zero in just on Jimmy Carter, but that's about the correct time period. But I don't know if that has anything to do with Western influences. There are multiple factors involved here, but I think the big one is just collapse of the Ottoman Empire, attempts to modernize, and then backlash against the attempts to modernize, and that's when you ended up with all these groups. And other people, they may have helped it along or something, but
pretty much.
All right, back to Harris. Finally, an intelligent atheist ex-Muslim to interact with.
Yes, Muslim might not be very fond of reading and writing, but they're very fond of using technology. They're very fond of absorbing content. That's where we come in. The ex-Muslim movement started roughly around 2007 and 2008. And look at this. Look at us. Just 15 years later, there is a wave of people leaving Islam, and it's only going to get worse.
Yeah, he's right on the money. He's right on the money with some of this stuff, but that is huge. And it's you guys get blasted for what? Why are you still talking about Islam and call yourselves ex-Muslim, huh? Why are you doing that? And so there's this complaint that you guys actually have a community of ex-Muslims, but
they hate it.
He's right. And people who are kind of growing up now in this environment, they don't know what it was like. You go back to just 2005, 2000, so not even 20 years ago, 2005, 2006, 2000. It was rare to hear from an ex-Muslim. You'd hear that there is an ex-Muslim over here, or that an ex-Muslim is coming to speak. And you weren't just like surrounded at all times whenever you went anywhere by ex-Muslim. Now you are. It's just like they're everywhere. Anytime you go online, there are ex-Muslims everywhere. And this is part of the reason that the Dawa clowns are panicking. And like everything else, they think they can do away with it by tossing some insults at you. Oh, why are you so obsessed with Islam even after you left it, huh? Just because we're saying we're going to kill you once we rise to power? Why would you want to criticize that when you stupid idiots? Stupid.
And people like MBS are going to help us. No, I'm actually getting worried. He might actually be aware of us ex-Muslims.
Ooh.
Yeah. There's a saying in Indian and Pakistani that you should neither be friends nor enemies with kings. Because if you're friends with them, then you never know when they're going to turn against you. And then and if you're enemies with them, then, oh, well. Then you better be friends with his enemies. Anyway, so...
Hey, MBS, if you're watching, you should go live. You should go live with Harris Sultan. That would be cool.
Yeah.
To announce that you're actually an ex-Muslim and you are using your billions and billions of dollars to support the ex-Muslim community. Actually, you know what? Seriously, if he is an ex-Muslim and he is working towards dismantling Islam from within, no, don't do anything. Just keep doing exactly what you're doing because he's crushing it. I mean, he is crushing it.
Yeah. MBS, get in touch with Harry Sultan. Just stay very far away from me. I want nothing to do with you.
This dude's crushing it, man.
I know he is.
I mean, seriously, we do our part. We work hard to do our part, but it's just awesome. It's just awesome that a guy can jump in there.
I still don't trust
Game
him.
changer.
I still don't trust him because there is a lot of bad stuff going on in Saudi Arabia behind the scenes, including human rights activists are still treated terribly, frequently imprisoned, tortured according to different reports, and so on.
I have seen him condemn some of that. Like someone was executed for blog posts, and he says yes, we have bad laws, and we got to fix them. We have to fix it. We have to fix our bad laws. So it looks like he's the crown prince, but there are still like courts and stuff that deal with this and have their laws and stuff. And he sounds like he wants to fix that stuff. But yeah, I'm with you in the sense of I'm not thinking of him as some great guy who because he's a great guy is going to do great things. Yeah, I think of him like in a ballpark of like a Saddam or an Assad or something like that. But you need someone like that. You couldn't be a super nice guy and make changes and maintain control. You'd get eaten alive. So anyway, yeah,
I will be optimistic and I will celebrate once Iggy Azalea becomes the queen of Saudi Arabia.
Queen Iggy.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yep.
This guy's hubris that MBS is not going to be able to do anything, he is awfully wrong.
He is.
And as we know that the noose is tightening around the necks in the Western countries, it is starting to happen in the birthplace of Islam. So my question to these Islamists who want to wave the flag of Islam on Buckingham Palace and on the White House, if you can't even take care of your own house, if you can't even take care of the birthplace of Islam, then what hope in hell do you have to install Sharia in Western countries or in India or in China? It ain't gonna happen, bro.
What are you laughing at?
The language he used there is funny.
Yeah, while as he was saying that, I remembered one of the first articles I wrote about Islam a long, long time ago. You're talking like, I don't know, had to be 2004, 2005 or something like that, was titled Islam Beheaded. The Information Superhighway and the Collapse of Islam. And it was just what we were talking about, that Islam has kept people insulated for centuries, and now it's no longer insulated. And this is going to bring about the collapse of Islam. And here we are, less than 20 years later, seeing it. We should do a show. We should do a show where we go back and read that article and see how accurate it was. Because I haven't read it. I haven't read it since I wrote it years ago. But we should go back and read that article and see how correct it is and how much of a real prophet I am.
Not better than me, but I trust that you might be accurate. So we should have a look.
Yeah, we'll check it out.
After this, the guy just goes on and rants about how MBS is a fool and is never going to succeed. I'll include the link in the description so you can watch the full video. But the bigger point here is that MBS, as we suspected, that he is an ex-Muslim and an atheist. This is why he's been taking all these steps. Just yesterday, we heard that MBS has legalized alcohol sales in the capital Riyadh. This is massive. The Quran specific.
That is actually massive.
MBS. Invite me and AP to Saudi Arabia.
Now.
And we would like to buy you a beer and hang out and drink beers with you in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. And if you really want to bring peace and harmony around the world, you have your opportunity to meet with a Christian and an atheist, one of your fellow atheists. We could all sit together, have a beer. I don't want to watch Iggy Azalea, but I will watch Metallica.
He bans alcohol. And now we're going to have alcohol legally sold and consumed in the land of the Prophet himself? Ooh, this is big. Even though alcohol has been sold illegally in Saudi Arabia before, not only just for foreign diplomats, but also for princes and Saudi royalty. But now it's going to be done legally. There's a very good episode of...
What is that?
It's nothing. It said banged up abroad, but when I glanced at it, I thought it said banged abroad, and I was like, what? Thought we were about to get some goat hub stuff. Or some Muslim cowboy.
Up abroad of some British guy who was bootlegging in Saudi Arabia, and then he gets in trouble. Very interesting show. Go check it out. But doing it openly is quite another thing altogether. And this is not the only thing that MBS has done in recent years. Ever since he practically became the ruler of Saudi Arabia, he's taken multiple steps in modernizing Saudi Arabia. Because he understands one thing, that you can either be a modern, progressive society in the 21st century, or you can be an Islamic society. I mean, these guys are still debating whether they should marry little girls or not. They're debating whether 50% of your population should go to schools or not. They're debating whether you should flog and stone adulterers to death or not. I mean, Islam leads you to medieval barbarity. And if you want to thrive and prosper in the 21st century, you have to let go of these medieval barbaric principles.
And you have to get Iggy Azalea.
Indeed,
man. They're even able to get the fight next month, man. Tyson Fury versus Usyk for the unification. The belts have been separate. The belts have been separated for decades now. Because the Klitschko brothers, they each had some of the belts and they wouldn't fight each other. So the belts have always been separated. And now they've got all the guys with all the belts. They're fighting each other. And now there's going to be one unified heavyweight champion of the world. And where is it happening? Saudi Arabia. They got it. They are definitely making some power moves here to modernize and change their reputation.
That sounds like the tough guy version of completely nerdy stuff.
A couple super chats here. Jew boy here. What good are bikinis when Daniel Farty Poo prefers them in diapers? Go boom boom. Go boom boom. People are sick, man. Timothy.
You're sick.
You're sick. Timothy says, Blessed Michael, defend us. Pray for the Mohammedans. Susan Lee says, King Faisal of Saudi Arabia tried to modernize and was assassinated. And I think did he already say it, or is he about to say it? Because I listened to this ahead of time, but I think Harris points out as far as you know, MBS becoming, if there are suspicions about him being an ex-Muslim, does he have to worry about being assassinated? Harris points out the guy doesn't trust anyone, so he keeps himself safe. He's very suspicious. He doesn't put himself out there in a position to be assassinated.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty based.
Very based. Longtime fan, first time jizya payer. Do you guys have any thoughts around how AI will affect the spread of truth on Islam? Virtual AP. Any thoughts on that?
I mean, it will affect the spread of information and how it is spread, and how fast it is spread in general. It is unpredictable at the moment. It is there is some rapid growth in all the things that AI is used for. Even unpredictably new things that it's used for. Pretty sure it will have an impact, just not sure at this point in what way. But in terms of acquiring information very easily, and for Muslims to look up things and to have access to very easily accessible information through AI, that it might contribute to a faster decline of Islam. That is actually a good observation.
Yeah, and I'm still just not up to date on what the AI stuff is capable of. I haven't been using it, but I will at some point have to pay someone to figure out that stuff for me. AP, the cross looked nice on you. It did.
You mean my cross? Or
yeah, the cross you were rocking the other day.
Oh, the one where I was wearing. Okay.
Yeah, you were wearing it. Yeah, they're saying you were super cool.
It did. Oh yeah, I know. It's amazing. It's fantastic.
Sir Dr. Whitemeat says, do you think after all the semen on his clothes, he didn't get the frosting on his fingers? Which follower got the blessings off his fingers? Or did Momo bless himself? That is some disgusting stuff. So you've got Mohammed, he's covered in semen, and his wife is washing it off or scratching it off or scraping it off. She says all the different ways she used to try to get the semen off his clothes so he could go to the mosque and hug it out with his bros. Sir Dr. Whitemeat's pointing out, well, what do you think his hands were like? But he also had those teachings that if you're eating some food, you can't wipe your hands on a napkin. You either have to suck it off your fingers or have someone else lick your fingers for you. But this dude's covered in semen. This is nasty stuff. Guys, I joke a lot about it. This is legitimately disgusting. This is legitimately disgusting stuff. A guy walking around covered in semen and has people suck his fingers for him, suck his fingers clean. Wow.
I wish I had the opportunity to lick Mohammed's fingers after he ate with all the semen on his fingers. I wish I had. This is how Muslims could react to this issue.
Mm-hmm. There should be a Shaky Booty video about how he thinks this is the greatest thing in the world. And this somehow proves that Islam is true.
That's a good idea.
If Mohammed wore Aisha's clothes, does that mean she cleaned the semen off her own clothes before he went to the mosque? Yeah, so what happened if Mohammed was prancing around in Aisha's clothes and then wore that to the mosque? Yep, these are things we may never know the answers to.
Hey, since we are going to Israel, we could use the environment there to film a few things and make it look like it's Arabian.
Yeah, you could do that in Arizona too, though.
Yeah, true.
David, you should tell Ridvan that new Christians get discount on Fortnite Battle Pass that will make him convert.
Joke's on you. I don't even like Fortnite.
Ooh, burn. You're wrong again, Sean. Better luck next time, sport. I sent the email. The video is 1.5 minutes. I don't know if you can get to it tonight, but the subject is calling Muhammad a false prophet is Islamophobic. Yeah, we're not going to watch it tonight because we're on a different topic tonight, but we are going to, I'm going to have, Inspiring Philosophy has a debate on Friday, but yeah, we've been planning responses to Muslim TikTok videos. In fact, there are so many stupid ones that we've been pondering the idea of having something more regular, just, the latest on some regular thing where we go through the dumb TikTok videos, TikTok Dawa videos. But yeah, I'll check that out. TikTok. So that's why they bump uglies with goats, because they ate pages of the Quran.
Yeah.
Did you see the new map for Palestine from Jordan River to the Persian Gulf? I haven't. Did you see that? Did you see a new?
No, I haven't.
It'd be pretty funny. Super stickers too weird, indeed. Thank you, Snipe.
What? Super stickers are amazing, man. What are you talking about?
Are they? Akpi says, D Wood, can you create a video that exposes the false prophet Mohammed, including all his actions and decisions with references to sources for each point?
That would be disrespectful.
That would be a lot of stuff.
And disrespectful.
If you said including all his actions and decisions, that's like a 40-hour video?
Yeah. Plus it's disrespectful.
Giovanni here. How's this guy not banned? Dawa guy. David is the goat. He is the goat of Christians. Muslims. He's a goat, you say? They start looking. Definitely not MBS. Anyone opposed to the Muslim ruler, MBS is Khawarij. And it's from the account, definitely not MBS.
That's funny.
Don't oppose him, guys. You're going to be weird, heretical
Yeah.
group. Kim says, would MBS Khashoggi some time of these Dawa guys? Oh, would MBS Khashoggi some of these Dawa guys? No, he probably loves them. He probably loves it. If he's trying to destroy Islam, he either loves them, loves the Dawa guys, or he's actually funding them. But even if he's not actually funding them, I guarantee he's rooting for these guys because they're doing his work for him. If he wants to undermine Islam.
People who are inside Islam and who leave it and who are against it might be very emotionally, uncomfortable with it. So they might be also quite uncomfortable and not very rational with people who openly advocate for Islam and for all its backward stuff. So it might be that he doesn't like them, and maybe, I don't know, maybe bad things could happen. I don't know. Nobody knows.
We don't know. Hector says the Islamic belief you should destroy for 2024 is the Muslims using Islam to justify their attraction in relations to goats. Free the goats. I thought we were going to get a serious suggestion because I've got the timeline. I've got the timeline in my head of, okay, we got to destroy this. Then after that, we got to destroy this. Then it's going to take a while to destroy this, and just again taking piece by piece. But I was looking for some extra advice there, and then we got goats.
That's a good idea, though. It's not a bad idea.
Oh, would we get someone gifted 10 memberships? Zane gifted 10 memberships. Grab those guys. And once again, once we're done here, there is a video waiting. I don't know how you get that if it pops up or something like that, but you could go. If all else fails, go to the community post. There is a members only community post, and it has a link to the video. You can check it out there. It is very, very dope. It is 37 minutes of me destroying a Muslim myth.
That's nice.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good. Pretty good.
Pretty good. Watch the documentary by Peter Santanello about Saudi. You familiar with that? I'm not. Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
I wouldn't mind learning. I mean, if I wouldn't mind learning, it's like Iran. Given things that are about to be that are starting to happen with Iran, people need to know the history of what's going on with Israel and Gaza. People need to know more about Saudi Arabia, and people need to know more about Iran, because these are the things that are going to be relevant here in the upcoming years.
This is the funny thing. You mentioned Iran. The change that is happening culturally in Saudi Arabia is something that I would expect to happen in Iran if the regime was taken down and replaced with something democratic and secular, as the people actually wanted. But in Saudi Arabia, it is somehow just happening without any regime change. And I would say that a lot of the population in Saudi Arabia probably doesn't even approve of what MBS is doing culture-wise. Like even, for example, the whole and that is the bad side of this. That is the pessimistic side of this. Even when it comes to the Israel normalization issue, for example, I think there was a survey recently where Saudi Arabians were asked how they feel about normalizing relations with Israel, and the vast majority was against it. I think it was like more than 90% were against it. But the king, the crown prince doesn't care.
You gotta like that dude.
Yeah, yeah.
Wouldn't that be cool? You're like, you become king of some place and you have billions of dollars and everyone can get mad at you over stuff, but you're like, shut up, I'll crush you.
Yeah, I don't care. I'm the crown prince here. I do whatever I want. And if you oppose me, I will chop you up and hide you. Yeah.
A couple more super chats and then we'll finish this Harris Sultan video. Stephen the Pelted says, wish I could publicly rip out Quran as a response of DM I get for criticizing it, but I'm from, what is MY? Myanmar
Malaysia.
or something? Malaysia? Okay, yeah. The only thing holding me back is my RL ties. What is that? And society here. What is RL ties? I don't know what most abbreviations stand for anymore.
Relations? I don't know.
Yeah, people were. I was saying something, and people were posting David Wood FTW, and I thought it was bad, but it turns out it means for the win. When I was growing up, FTW meant F the world. So like you've got things that stood for something when I was a kid, and now they mean something completely different, and I don't always know what stuff means. All right. Rescue Life says, here are some shekels from Mossad. Woohoo! The documentary is on Frontline 4 years ago. You will be very surprised what you learn about the prince.
Nice.
That does sound good.
Pretty good.
All right. Let's check out Harris.
One way to do that is that you confine Islam to the confines of your houses. You want to bang your head on the ground 5 times a day, go do it. Nobody cares. But do it in the confines of your houses. You can't do that in public. So MBS understands this. And this is not the only step that he's taken. He brought Justin Bieber, Rihanna.
But by the way, you saw the stuff from 5 Pillars, right? Like, this just reminded me of it. So you've got you have all these, and it happens everywhere. It happens in France, in the UK, in the United States. Matter of fact, it used to happen regularly in Queens. We lived in the Bronx, but our kids went to school in Queens. And it was pretty regular on Fridays. You would see some street blocked because the mosque in the area, Muslims just stop all their cars on the street, blocking traffic while they do their prayers. But anyway, who was it who did it? A couple, was it Hindus or something like that who did it in the UK? And 5 Pillars is like flipping out about it. Look at them. Look at what they're doing. Doing their stuff in public like this. Like, are you joking? Like, you actually don't have any concept of consistency, do you?
They have no self-awareness, no consistency. Well, actually, they openly don't believe in inconsistency at all. They do believe that only they should be allowed to have these rights. They should be able to expand their rights. Others shouldn't be able to do that. So that's pretty much expected from them, honestly.
Yeah, the upside of all this is that they're making it obvious to people, and hope they keep making it obvious. And 5 Pillars UK, like the Dawa guys, is doing a bang up job of making their hypocrisy absolutely obvious, so that it can't be denied anymore.
Those people are complete scumbag. Like 5 Pillars UK, complete, like pure scumbaggery.
Khashoggi connected with the Muslim Brotherhood. I think she posted the comment earlier saying she was concerned about MBS because of the Khashoggi thing. She said, Khashoggi connected with Muslim Brotherhood. I feel less ick, although still brutal death. If MBS is an atheist, also makes sense why he's open-minded about peace with Israel. Both of you are awesome.
Thank you.
What a perfectly correct comment. Multiple claims in there, and then all of them awesome. And Joshua here, I never liked Twitter and will not pay for blue check. I do wonder if Daniel will call Saudi music festival people prostitutes or just Israel. That's an
He
interesting question.
actually, the funny thing is, I learned about the whole Iggy Azalea concert because of him. And I think he said something. I think he actually did call her a prostitute when he tweeted about it.
Would not surprise me at all. Our good friend Daniel Hakikachu.
But I wonder what he would say about the crowds.
That's something that's going to be interesting as Saudi Arabia modernizes, legalizing everything that people like Daniel are trying to get banned everywhere else, but it's becoming completely legal in Saudi Arabia. Like, how much is this? There are limits on how much you can whine. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like he already spends his entire day flipping out and whining about everything. How much more can he possibly whine and complain?
Oh yeah.
And how long before you just realize my whining isn't accomplishing anything anymore?
This is so funny. I just went on Daniel Kikich's Twitter page and searched for the word prostitute, and there are just numerous tweets.
Just don't.
He just tweets about prostitutes so often. It's like a tweet from December 8th, November 29th, November 18th, November 10th.
Yes. So Daniel's perfectly functioning moral compass. Any woman who disagrees with me on anything is a prostitute. But banging 3-year-old girls is good. Who wants to convert? Eric here says, love you guys. Been watching D Wood since 2007. That is a long time. If the trajectory continues, my leather strap of the anus will be watching more, and I'm proud of that. Cool. Joshua here says, D Wood, if Christmas is worse than murder, common double claim. If Christmas is worse than murder, worst is P.
Yes. Just say yes.
I'm trying to think of that because you do have all those hadiths about the most of the punishment of the grave is because of urinating improperly and so on.
Yeah.
Got weird stuff. Challenge. I run in Seattle with a 4 foot by 6 foot Israeli flag. What is my best response to the next woman shrieking genocider at me? I'll field test and report back.
Say no, you.
Yeah. Say, what you want to do is yell, I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you. Nah, 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 and then just keep running.
I started doing this thing when I defend Israel, and they're like, "Oh, you're justifying genocide." I just say, "No, you are justifying genocide," because that's what Hamas is actually doing, and they're defending it. Since if it's so easy to just make such a stupid claim, then here, I'll do the same thing to you.
Yeah, if someone yelled that, I would yell, "Shut up, Nazi." Farfor here says, dang, what happened to AP? Looking sharp. Oh, that's Harris Sultan. Oh, my bad. Hi. Oh, hey. Oh, hi, AP.
Can we ban this guy?
Yeah, we got to block Farfor. Oh, I don't know. It's Farfor, though. He's already been through so much. He's already been killed.
Kill him again.
All right. Kill Farfor again. Here's back to Harris here.
Nicki Minaj, all these people to Saudi Arabia. Fully sold out concerts. He's legalized cinemas. Cinemas were not allowed in Saudi Arabia. Now you can watch movies in Saudi Arabia. And they plan to increase the number of screens to 2,000 in every city of Saudi Arabia. Women were allowed to drive in 2018. 2018, yes. 2018, the Saudis.
Hey, I bet Daniel's like, look at these whores. Look at these prostitutes. They're driving. Probably driving to pick up their John. That's the only reason a woman would ever want to drive, is if she's a prostitute.
And who knows what they do in the car?
Yeah, guys, if you haven't followed Daniel, I mean, there were girls in Afghanistan crying because the Taliban announced that girls could only attend a couple years of school before they no longer can go to school, and then they have to be married off and so on. Girls are crying that they can't actually do something with their lives. And Daniel posted a clip of him mocking them, going, "Oh, I can't go to school!" Like absolutely disgusting.
He actually
Disgusting
posted
individual.
an audio clip mocking little girls that cry because they can't go to school anymore.
Mhm. Pretty
How sick
messed up.
can you
And
be?
we're bad for responding to the ideology that makes him think like that.
You're sick. You're sick.
Allowed women to drive. But anyway, better late than never. We'll take it, yeah? All of these things have been done under MBS. And the funny thing is that MBS has actually faced a lot of opposition from Wahhabis, from these hardcore religious nutbags. But the guy, he's no softy. He's no Democrat. He rules with iron fist. And the good thing is he's a young man. He's only 40 years old. So he's going to be around for a long, long time. Albeit he doesn't get assassinated, which I don't think he would, because he doesn't trust anyone.
There is this little side issue here. No, you could look at what we're saying right now and point out, say, wait, guys, if this guy is a closet ex-Muslim, if he's actually a closet atheist, you shouldn't be pointing it out, because you could actually be endangering his life. And so Harris is kind of responding to that, pointing out, hey, he's actually pretty hardcore and can get away with it because he's a tough guy, and he'll be brutal if you cross him. I would add, it's actually safe. It makes him safer coming from us. When it's coming from Muslim sheikhs accusing him of being an ex-Muslim atheist, that's one thing. If it's coming from the world's biggest Islamophobes, if the criticism is coming from the world's biggest Islamophobes, that's something that Muslims would not take seriously. Oh, that's what that's what these bigots say. In fact, if we all start saying it and we're constantly accusing him of being a closet ex-Muslim and so on, that could help him. Because then when a sheikh says it, he's actually an atheist, and people say, oh, you're saying what the apostate prophet and Harris Sultan say. We can't take you seriously. So I think this dude's actually safer if it's coming from critics of Islam, because they have a negative reaction to everything we say. So
can't be a softie and then fight against radical Islam. You can't do that. So you actually need to be a tough man.
Well, you could
man.
be. You just lose.
Strong man, and you need to be somewhat brutal and barbaric yourself. Yes, I know what he did in Yemen. I know what he did to Jamal Khashoggi. So, I'm not going all chummy with him. But it's just ironic that the birthplace of Islam is actually being ruled by an ex-Muslim atheist like one of us. Yes, he's just a little bit harsher than us, but he's an ex-Muslim atheist. So, what are you going to do, my dear Muslims?
I love how he's enjoying this.
Yeah, he's really, really liking this. I'm liking it too.
Our guy is actually ruling the birthplace of your prophet. I wouldn't be surprised if he bans Hajj altogether in a few years. Actually,
no, they wouldn't do that because of the money. And that's the interesting. It looks. I mean, if I had to guess what he would do, it would be modernize it, but still keep people serious about the rituals like the Hajj, because it's just an ongoing source of revenue. And yeah, your oil money is going to be running out, because you're going to be running out of oil. And so what would you want to do? You'd want to keep that money coming in. You don't want to hurt that source of revenue.
Yeah, if I was an ex-Muslim and I was in charge of Saudi Arabia and I wanted to corrupt it from within, I would totally keep up the Hajj, but I would just slowly introduce things to it that make it less and less Islamic. I don't know. Maybe you could have Iggy Azalea come and perform next to the Kaaba.
No, hey, you have to walk 7 circles around the Kaaba, but each circle you have to take a shot. And I ain't talking about a shot of Zamzam water, ladies and gentlemen. Talk about the hard stuff.
Take a shot at every turn. That's good. Nice.
All right, back to here.
Do that because that's just unnecessary. Even if I was the king of Saudi Arabia, I would say, okay, you know what, you can do this. And also, in the meantime, we can make a lot of money through it. Through your stupidity, we can make billions of dollars. So I would let them do it. But other than that, no, we're going to have music concerts, we're going to have movies, we're going to have parties, we're going to have alcohol, we're going to have everything. And there's nothing you can do about it. So, Ali Dawa, what did you say? That people like us should be killed and you'll be watching.
This is a part of our religion. There's a reason to it.
There's our buddy.
Yeah? There's a reason why there's a capital punishment. Because
credit, Ali Dawa.
people like you, little weaklings, who leave their religion and cause corruption in the land by spreading it, the capital punishment in Islamic law would be applied to you. We have no doubt. And we're proud of that. Yeah? Capital punish will be applied in an Islamic state, and we
capital punish will be applied.
We'll be watching. We'll be watching. So now you've got Saudi Arabia, which in theory should be an Islamic state, and instead they're helping us destroy it. Wow.
Watching.
Good times.
Watching.
Well, guess what? Now your prophet's birthplace is being ruled by one of our guys, and we are watching. So I hope you like to.
He flipped it. He says he's watching as Saudi Arabia gets turned into a liberal utopia.
Today's video, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And if you'd like to support my work, you can be my patron by going to patreon.com.
This is not stuff we're actually watching, but I'm leaving this up because, yes, you may want to support Harris Sultan's work.
Where you can connect with me, where you can watch my videos before they're released to public, and some other benefits as well. Or you can just buy me a coffee.
Harris Sultan is doing good work. He's putting out a lot of stuff.
Yes.
He's doing good work.
Yes,
he has been one of the most outspoken ex-Muslim personalities, and yeah, totally.
Yeah, doing awesome work. That's why I'm playing that here. In fact, I didn't include the link to his video that we're watching right now, but I'm going to add that here while it's
1, 5, 10, 15. The sky's the limit. Until next time, Pala. If you'd like to support my work, you can.
All right. Well, we will take. So, guys. Yeah. What do you think? What do you think? Is this guy an actual ex? Maybe I should do one of those polls. I can do polls.
I mean, it's very hard to tell what is actually happening in the guy's mind, right?
Yeah.
It's hard to actually conclusively say that the guy is an ex-Muslim, that he doesn't believe in Islam, that he's an atheist or whatever it is. But one thing is clear, that his actions are very, very contrary to what you normally expect from an Islamist conservative guy in charge of Saudi Arabia. They're very much contrary to that. They are. He looks toward progress, toward modernization, westernization, going completely against the idea that Saudi Arabia and the Arab world or the Muslim world is this hub for people who want to stay free from all the corruption in the West and all that stuff. That said, I would say there is still the fact that there is a very simple, logical explanation to why Saudi Arabia would want to westernize. It's because of despair, because they realize that before oil they were nothing, and once the dependency on oil runs out, they will return to very much nothing, because they have nothing else to offer. Their population doesn't work. Their population is not very efficient, which is very, very, very usual in Arab countries, which is why it would be a good idea for them to branch out and to possibly open the country up to tourism and make it more welcoming to others, because they realize that if you don't do that, then the future of this country is doomed. But that said, even that realization, even with that realization, it would require somebody who doesn't care at all about Islam to make the steps that MBS is making right now. In the end, we don't know. In the end, it's very hard to know. But I don't know. Make of it whatever you think. Of course, it's very nice, like Harris Sultan or others, to say the guy is one of us. And maybe it's fun and good to do that. Yeah, do with it what you wish.
Indeed. All right. I'm a couple things going on here. I'm putting a link to Harris's video and to his channel in the description box. So if you want to check out Harris's channel, you can do that. When we're done, you might have to refresh or something like that. And now let me go ahead and add this poll. Is the Saudi crown prince, based on the information we have available to us, so that includes not just the video we watched from a sheikh accusing him of actually being an ex-Muslim, but also the things he's doing. You got a poll there.
Who is Paul?
Poll, the Apostle Poll.
Oh.
That'd be funny to have a polling site called the Apostle Poll. All right, so we have a poll up. Guys, let us know what you think, and let's go through some super chats here. MBS is going to have to get Saudi Arabia out of the 7th century before he can get it to the 21st century. Tough sell for pedos, though. Yeah, that is a lot of work. But, I mean, absolutely shocking how many changes have taken place in just the past 4 or 5 years. A lot. You can't reform Islam, only destroy it.
Yeah.
And that's why we love the reformers, because they're destroying it.
Yes.
The internet is doing to, here's Giovanni here, troublemaker. The internet is doing to Islam what the printing press did to Christianity, but in reverse, destroying Islam. That's
pretty good.
That's the AP version there.
That's pretty good.
Pretty observant. So, okay. I take back my plans to ban Giovanni, but we'll see. So you're on probation. You're on probation now, Giovanni. Hello, Yiddy says, I'm a Jew married to an Arab ex-Muslim. He and I have a saying, there are moderate Muslims. There is no moderate Islam. The so-called extremism is a feature, not a bug. Love you, AP and D Wood.
That's very true. I agree very much. Thank you. And love you too.
That is a good assessment. Giovanni here says, oh, yeah, sure. AP as an atheist, wink, wink, nod, nod, silent passing of wind from the anus.
Have to keep pretending. Yeah.
You got to. The Kamli Bengali, you can't reform Islam, only get rid of it, as Armin Navabi stated.
Yep. That's true.
Survite meat, gravestone. Gravestone, Christianity, 1436. Couldn't handle the printing press. In the arms of the angel. I've never heard that song. I only heard it in a commercial that was about rescuing pets from animal shelters, and they played In the Arms of an Angel song. So that's where I heard it. Emmanuel says, by the way, Nestorianism came to China in 7th century. Catholic in China and 1300s and 1500s in Japan, not because people don't want the Bible, the governor forced to stop.
Governor.
Sahub Shahid said, hey, D Wood and AP, if a country establishes an Islamic caliphate, is it too late to reestablish a democratic government? Are there any examples of countries that were under Sharia law but eventually stopped? I mean, lots of Muslim countries were under Sharia and are under at least a very watered down form of it as of now. Mm-hmm. But I mean, you had the restored, so supposedly the restored caliphate started in Iraq, like just recently, and then it started collapsing. Yeah. So.
You have to differentiate between a caliphate and just regular Sharia law. Yeah, so there are only very few movements that actually try to, create a caliphate, and that is a very vain attempt. And I don't think it is possible for the Muslim world to ever come together and unite under a caliphate. Maybe a regional one. But it's very hard even for that to work nowadays. For Sharia to be established and then to reverse again is possible. I mean, you could say, honestly, Egypt, for example, was very briefly during the whole Arab Spring, very briefly on the path of going toward Islam, but then being stopped very violently and returning to a non-Islamic path again. Although that is not directly an example here, but yeah, I mean, it's definitely possible.
Fun fact: Sheikh Uthman was a Jabberwocky. I just looked up Jabberwockies, and I don't know if this is the same thing, but this was a dance crew, a hip hop dance crew back in the day. So is that serious? Was he actually like on the dance crew?
That sounds pretty.
Or are you talking about a different Jabberwocky, or I don't know? Greg Smith said 8 to 10 million Muslims convert to Christianity every year, many due to dreams and visions. Islam is dying, but Islamofascism is growing.
I have a dream.
This new theory that, hey, if we just attack in all directions, things will work out. That's the new Dawa plan. It's going to come crumbling to the ground.
Alhamdulillah.
And then we'll see what they're saying after that. But I don't think you're going to get people be online. And we're going to make an Islamic state, and then we're going to kill you. Yeah,
we'll be watching. Yeah, we're proud of that. Yeah.
Yeah. Giovanni here says, I think what's weird about Islam and why people find it hard it will ever die off is the fact that you had extremists during the war in the Middle East who were classically trained in Ivy League colleges on any number of fields who still fell for the lies of Islam.
Islam has something special to it that is that appeals to some people's innermost, darkest personal sides, which is that it offers a lot of status and a lot of authority, and it truly plays toward some sick desires that you might have and that you might feed with hatred and with resentment, like dominating others, being violent, rewarded as a result of the violence, whether it is with earthly slaves or with those wonderful virgin creatures in the afterlife. And even if that is not real, just believing in that is a very rewarding idea for sick minds. But yeah, it is something that really plays toward the ego and your sickest desires, while also capturing you with fear and with Allah as a bully who makes sure that you never leave. So even no matter how intelligent you are, you could be drawn toward it and to live out your sickest ideas. That's what makes Islam so strong in war, I would say.
No, what makes it strong is it's the truth, and it has the most brilliant defenders, people like Ali Dawah.
Yeah.
Sonia, no comments. Joshua here says this guy is one of the camera Jew-bird Muslims. What's that mean?
What? I don't know.
Well, yeah, because this was earlier. I don't know what this is in reference to. But he says Christianity plus secularism equals woke equals failure. Islam plus secularism equals best thing to happen for heads in Islamic lands. That's true.
Alhamdulillah.
That is a fair assessment. Mountain Jew says Philippines has an autonomous Muslim region. Yeah, I keep hearing all the terrorist attacks that come out of there. With a certain level of Sharia law is implied. Meanwhile, Muslims who move to non-Muslim regions would praise Sharia and on the same breath criticize the poverty in their region. Yeah, it's at the end of the day, Islam just does, when people are taking it very seriously, it does a really bad job at making places that anyone wants to live. And so they go to other places. So they either modernize or or people go to other places. But it is strange. And you see the same thing with like certain political positions. Like you'll have people who aren't just left. You can have a kind of healthy left, but they go like extreme, like California goes, and it gets so bad that people want to leave the area. But then they'll they'll move and they'll go down to Texas and they'll start saying, "We need to go far left down here." It's like you literally just left a place that had become intolerable for you to live in. And then you want to go down and you want the same policy, but that's like Islam, right? It's, we want to get out of there and go to the West. We want to go to the Western nations. We like it better there than any of the Sharia compliant hellholes we come from. The West is better than Pakistan. It's better than Afghanistan. It's better than Saudi. It's better. We got to get out of these countries and get to these. When like they get it, now we want Sharia. Where has that worked? Where has that worked out well? Where has Sharia worked? Where has Sharia made a place where someone would want to live?
Your dreams.
You see,
in Muhammad's time, the Prophet Muhammad had a perfect system.
Joshua said, please, David Wood, Dawkins voice, AP, Jordan Peterson voice, D Wood and AP, Russell Brand voice, freestyle anything starting with if the trajectory continues.
Yeah, how about no? But if the trajectory continues as it is.
Well, what we can say here is that people are realizing, even in the Muslim world, that atheism is true. And fortunately, everyone will have atheism imposed on them in the future. And then we will enter our atheist utopia.
No, you got that all wrong. What do you even mean when you talk about atheism? And what does theism mean? What does God mean? It all depends on how you define it.
Well, I can define it here, eh? Because, as the imperialistic dogma that's coming out of Saudi Arabia, what is leaving out of the equation is that they're people who need a personal relationship with God, yeah?
Yeah, and that's why I find Christianity quite appropriate for myself, isn't it?
We were making fun of him the entire time. Yeah, I kind of like the dude.
Who?
Russell Brand. Yeah, I kind of. It was watching the interview. It was. He sits down with an interview, 3 people, and they're ready for him, and he just completely destroys all of them. But not in the same way. Not like the hijab, like shout them down and thump his chest sort of thing. I watch him completely throw them off their game, and by the end, he takes over and he starts reporting like he's one of them, and they're just like stunned. That's brilliant. I love that sort of thing.
Yeah, there is a reason to it, yeah, because there's a reason why there's a capital punishment. But people like you who leave their religion,
Jordan Dawa,
and keep spreading it. The capital punishment in Islamic law will be applied to you, and we are proud of that. Yeah.
Raphael says, Dr. Wood, thank you so much for all you have done for the kingdom of heaven. Thank you for all you did for Nabil. I found Jesus again through him last year. You rock, AP. I'm praying for you. So now you have a guy who's checking out Nabil's stuff, and now he's telling you something.
Thank you.
Velvet Jazz said, saw on YouTube Muslim guy stating, and I'm so sick of hearing that we throw homosexuals off of rooftops. There are no rooftops left in Gaza. And for that matter, no closets either. That guy had a powerful refutation of all these myths.
That's pretty morbid.
Pretty morbid. Zahud Shahid says, AP, would you ever talk to Milahan again? She was a great guest. Also, is there any specific style of meditation you practice? So on the first part, yeah. If Milahan or anyone we could actually sort of get along with in a show, and keep in mind, we understand who we are. We understand what we're about. We understand that what we do is offensive. But with that said, we're happy to talk to people. But yeah, so I'd be happy to talk to her.
I would talk to her again. I mean, she is for the stuff that she believes in and talks about, which is pretty messed up. She is a person that is easy to talk to and who is willing to talk to me and have a conversation with. In fact, I was arranging a conversation with her on different topics, and then something got in the way of that. But I am supposed to have a future conversation with her again, so that might come maybe quite soon. I don't know. I did enjoy talking to her, and Muslims really hated that I talked to her. They really blasted her. Ali Dawa attacked her because of that. But she didn't care. She appreciated the talk. When it comes to meditation, you know what? I haven't done that in a long time.
Did I ever tell you about meditating in jail?
No.
That was funny.
Well, let me say, I meditated in the past, especially when I dealt with anxiety issues, and it was very helpful. Very helpful. But all I would do was just the whole. All I would do was just the guided, I don't know, 5 to 10 minute. What's it called? Just regular meditation where you sit down and focus on your breath and stuff like that. And it was really helpful. And I thought, wow, I should have been doing this all my life. It's very helpful. But then as soon as I felt better, I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, whatever. So I haven't done it for a while.
Yeah. So this was before I became a Christian. Someone gave me a book and I was reading, and there was parts of it. There was a part that was on meditation. There was some stuff on yoga and some stuff on meditation. So I was doing it because I was just sitting in a cell. And then I got another book. The entire book was on meditation, right? Hey, check this out. You'll like this. So keep in mind, this would have been like 1995. So this is a long time ago. I'm sitting there meditating, but I'm adapting the techniques to fit better with me. So there was this technique on, I forget, because this is a long time ago. I think it was called the 1,000-petal lotus technique. And so you're trying to empty your mind and you're sitting there. And so, but thoughts inevitably come into your mind. And this is what it's supposed to be. This is what it's supposed to help with. So a thought pops into your mind and you kind of imagine that thought or that person who shows up in your mind or whatever as like a lotus petal, and you pluck it off and cast it away. So you're just constantly plucking off these thoughts as they're entering your head. Anyway, so I was trying that for a while, and then I found something that worked better for me. A thought would pop into my head, and I would just like stab the freaking crap out of it and brutally murder it. Or I start thinking about a person, and I just like stab the person to death and stuff, and then leave it there, and then just go on. And so I had to come up with my own meditation techniques, but they're all like that. They were more violent than most meditation techniques, but it was the same goal. Like, get that thought out of your head. But okay, I could pluck it off. Think about it. If it's a leaf, you're actually killing it. You're doing the same thing. I'm just making it more clear to my mind that thought is dead.
That's pretty based, but it teaches you actually something very nice. So mindfulness meditation, it actually teaches you something very nice, which is that a lot of people, when they don't understand further how the mind works, deal with intrusive thoughts, thinking about things that you don't want to think about because you think they are inappropriate or you think they are, harmful and bad and this and that. But what it basically teaches you is that your mind will just wander and do whatever it wants sometimes, and that's fine. It doesn't mean that it is you, but you can learn to focus, to be mindful, to just let these things in your mind happen without taking them seriously, without turning them into a personal struggle. And I don't know, it teaches you quite a good sense of self-control. And yeah, it is good. I would recommend it.
Rachel T. Rocca says, meditation is thinking about the word of God and scripture. Yeah, so that would be the difference between Christian meditation and like Eastern meditation. The goal of lots of Eastern meditation techniques is to empty your mind, whereas Christian meditation would be to fill your mind with something.
I wouldn't really call it emptying your mind. I would just call it like...
That's exactly what it is. It was the perfect explanation.
No, it's kind of like reaching a state of
Of
equilibrium.
empty-mindedness. Yeah, why can't I be more like that? Oh, I want to empty my mind. Come
No. It's like
on.
reaching a level of being totally fine with whatever is going on in your mind, like it being at peace with your mind, something like that. Yeah.
Dor says, "How surprised were you?" Oh, this is because you posted something about this. I have no idea what's going on. How surprised were you when you heard the news about UNRWA employees taking part in the 7th of October massacre? Thanks for making my shift go faster. Yeah, I saw you post about nations that are now no longer funding UNRWA. That sounds like underwear. UNRWA. So apparently that's what the United Nations
It's
relief.
it's a Palestinian organization that is
Oh, that's Palestinian.
yeah, it's the United Nations Relief Work Agency for Palestinian Refugees. It has a long name. People, even UN people, often just call it UNRWA. But
Underwear.
yeah, I guess the question here is not to be taken seriously because nobody is actually surprised. People were always thinking that
The
this support
It's the
from
United Nations, the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees.
Yeah,
Okay.
they everyone always knew that it is completely corrupt. We have remember I showed a video weeks ago, which was a video filmed years ago, where they show kids that go to these UN-funded schools, and they are asked what kind of stuff they learn, and they say all kinds of horrible things like to kill Jews, to make Jews regret to take over, to eliminate, to destroy Israel, and things like that. There was always knowledge. It was like an open secret that this UN-funded Palestinian organization is basically collaborating with terrorism and all that. And Israel just uncovered and presented compelling evidence to nations and the United Nations that multiple employees at the UNRWA took part directly in the October 7 terrorist attacks. Some of the evidence includes Hamas directly sending the UN-funded schools requests to excuse them on the day of October 7 for special work that they have to do and things like that. So all of this came out. The UN Secretary Guterres, he himself acknowledged it and said this is abhorrent. This is terrible. The organization was forced to fire several employees that are now under investigation, but this is only the tip of the iceberg. More and more is coming out, and so far, many America, UK, Canada, Australia, Finland, Germany, Italy, France, and more countries have suspended funds, and this is a very, very serious blow to this organization.
Yeah, because they were sending piles of money there, right?
Yeah.
Endless chunks of money.
America and Germany were the greatest contributors, and both of them have suspended funds to them at the moment. It's pretty serious.
Pretty serious. Edmonton City Hall had a visit from a jihadi. That's true. You see about that?
I heard a little bit of it. I didn't look into it not too much.
Yeah, fortunately, it's like that. It's like that attack in Turkey where like one person was killed, and that it sucks that it's an attack, but it's cool that because it could have been much worse. Some of these things could be much worse. You've got someone who wants to carry out an attack. You could obviously be much more successful in that. And this guy showed up like a Molotov cocktail and a gun or something like that. I don't even know if anyone was. I don't think anyone was killed. I didn't say anything about being killed, but Anyway, it's good that it's good when there's a terrorist attack and it's not, no one dies or casualties are minimized or something like that. Because
jeez,
what?
Look at this. So after the controversy, United States, UK, Canada, Australia, Italy, Finland, Germany, Iceland, Netherlands, Switzerland, France, Estonia, and Japan. 13 countries have halted fundings to the UNRWA, and Their contributions amount to a total of, in 2022, 739 million US dollars, and their total funding, so the total funding which they received altogether was, how much was it? 700. It says 1,113 million. So that is
Little over a billion.
more than
Yeah.
half their funding has been cut off after
Good.
this event.
Keep it cut off.
Jeez.
Keep it
serious
cut
one.
off.
That's a
And
serious
keep in mind, I'm all for trying to help people, especially if it's a war zone. You have kids there. If you can get some aid to them, totally for it. But you're sending all these money and making terrorists rich, and they're meanwhile they're around the world partying, and their kids are all driving Lamborghinis and so on, and Bugattis. And then the money is being used to train terrorists and stuff. You can't keep throwing money at that stuff. You have to say, okay, we'll help in certain situations if we have these guarantees about where everything is going. In other words, we want to know where every penny is going to before we fund you. And if you find out what we just found out about what was going on there, yeah, I'd say you guys are going to have to take some serious steps to regain our trust, because we're not giving you a dime until you figure out a way to win our trust back. How's that poll doing? Well, so on the poll as it stands now, is the Saudi crown prince an ex-Muslim? 50% say yes. Based on what we've seen, he appears to be an ex-Muslim. 40% say can't tell. And then only 10% say no. So only 10% of people who have gotten this information on what he's doing think this guy's actually a Muslim.
Yep.
Wow.
Pretty
Conspiracy
solid.
Conspiracy thought. What if the Muslim Brotherhood-linked journalist Jamal Khashoggi was assassinated because he had some kind of proof that MBS was an atheist who plans to get rid of Islam from Saudi Arabia? If so, would MBS be willing to kill half of Saudi to keep in power? Love you all. Greetings from Brazil.
That sounds like BS.
Yeah, I'd have to see some actual evidence, but unless we know exactly... That sounds like MBS.
Yeah. I just wanted to say BS.
Unless we know, I mean, yeah, so Jamal Khashoggi, I don't know. You don't know what's going on with that dude.
Yeah.
Would you say Islam is closest to Scientology? No,
What?
I wouldn't. They're parallel in that they're a controlling cult. But I'm not aware of any other parallels.
Lots of people have said that Mormonism is the Western version of Islam.
Yeah, Islam for white people.
Yeah, Islam for white people. That's as close as you can get, I guess.
Here you go. When it tastes like fermented cat urine, that's how you know it's working. Bon provencho. Why are you guys watching AP's Indian doppelganger?
He's a fake AP. Fake AP.
It was a wannabe AP. Are church buildings still illegal in Saudi? Yeah, I don't know what the status there is. But if they are, it would be...
The funny thing is we're talking about atheism and whether MBS is an atheist. To my knowledge, atheism is pretty much still considered illegal in Saudi Arabia.
Mm-hmm.
They declared that atheism is terrorism. That was not very long ago.
Yeah, so I'm not sure about any changes about churches there. We have more from Definitely Not MBS. Check out MBS's Fox interview in English last year. Yeah, I wouldn't mind checking that out. There's the memory clip where he was saying that can't really use most of the hadiths and so on. Kichu, Mr. L. D. Wood, we should do adding item number 729 in the gotta do list. Yeah, we do make a lot of plans, don't we?
Yeah.
Come to the nearest Saudi embassy for SA visa. Saudi Arabia visa. Yeah. That's a good idea. And definitely not MBS says it. We
should make a list of all the things that we wanted to do.
Yeah, see, guys, because I want the Crown Prince to invite us over there for an evening of watching Metallica and drinking beers and stuff. But we're gonna be like 15 beers deep each, sitting there with MBS, and that's when I'm gonna say, hey. Can I go check out that Kaaba? He's gonna be like, yeah, you're my buddies. You can come check out the Kaaba. I got the keys right here. And we go there, and I'll be like, right when I get to the black stone, I'll be like, hey, look over there. And he's gonna look, and I'll snatch that thing. Then I've got it. And then the tricky part is like, because I still got to get it out in my luggage and so on. But
that's a good plan. We could do that. Could totally pull it off.
So MBS is actually ABS after all. Alhamdulillah. Why your child's gonna become an apostate? One. Your child's gonna become an apostate. Yeah. You guys should research on the role of U.S. deep state and CIA in Islamization of the Middle East, from Carter to Obama. Most of today's problems has U.S. hands: ISIS, Al Qaeda, Hamas, etc. Creation of U.S. Yes, U.S. invented all these problems. Islam was wonderful and peaceful, and then a bunch of politicians got involved and somehow convinced people that child marriage and jihad are great.
There is something right about that, which is that America played a role in funding and helping certain groups. Such as some Islamist groups in Afghanistan, for example,
because they were against communism, right?
Yeah,
and the U.S. understood these guys will stand against communism because they think it violates Islam, and therefore we really want these guys being hardcore jihadis because these are the guys who will fight when communists show up.
Yeah, and no matter what you think of Hillary Clinton, for example, or others, there is a clip that people sometimes use where Hillary Clinton talks about how openly, even publicly, like it's a public interview, it's not even like a secret recording or anything. She talks about how a lot of what happened is, she speaks of America and says that we did things that blew up in our hands, like we funded certain organizations, which later became problems. What she is saying there is not that they secretly, with this great conspiracy, created these Islamist organizations. No, what she's saying is that that America made some strategic moves in supporting certain organizations against other organizations, and kind of doing a proxy war in the eastern part of the world because of the Cold War. But what America didn't foresee is that those organizations would become strong and start trying to overthrow everything and fighting America and even flying planes into American buildings. So things got out of hand because it turns out that America is, unlike what lots of conspiracy theorists think, America is not this collective of brilliant geniuses who have this giant master plan going on where everything goes exactly according to their plan. That's not exactly how it works. They make mistakes. They made mistakes, and some of those mistakes led to some very big mistakes. But when it comes to ISIS, America has very, very little to do with how ISIS was formed.
Yeah, and so it's good to understand this issue because this could happen again. There is a big habit of saying, okay, what are we worried about? We're worried about communism. Okay, well, let's help all these jihadis here because they'll fight communism, and not realizing what the jihadis are going to do. Yeah. And it's the same thing of thinking, it's like this one-dimensional thinking of what is the thing I want to do and not realizing what else is involved. It's what we were talking about with Saddam. Okay, we don't like the dictator, Saddam Hussein. Let's get rid of him. Okay, you don't like Saddam because he was messed up and was doing some horrible things. That's true. What else was he doing? Well, he was doing some things like keeping the jihadis under control. So if you're going to get rid of him, you need a plan for how you're going to replicate what he was doing that was actually benefiting you, namely keeping the jihadis under control. How are you going to do that? Because you're not brutal, so you don't know how to do it. So how are you going to do that? Oh, you have no plan? You have no plan? Then be careful. So anyway, people do this regularly. It's just, hey, I'm worried about this thing right here. And okay, you'll do something. and not realizing that that thing is connected to lots of other things, and you're making some serious problems here.
Osama bin Laden, America did did play a role in training Osama bin Laden and the very organization or the very people who later became Osama bin Laden's favorite guys and members and all of that. But that's not because America was planning on creating this this monster named Osama bin Laden who is going to commit a false flag attack against America. No, it's because they didn't foresee what he would eventually become. Because to them, this was just a pawn that would be used against the communist Soviet influence, for example, or other forces that would be against the American interests. And unfortunately, meddling with the world sometimes has very bad consequences.
And sometimes very good consequences, which is why we are massively in favor of meddling with the world constantly.
Yes.
Threats or blackmails, BTS, check out Jay Dyer. We could check out Jay Dyer.
Alhamdulillah.
We're going to check out Jay Dyer and Jonathan Pez. Not sure. But I will find out. Running decade. Can you explain what is the leather sock controversy that Mohammed hijab and other Muslims once shouted and argued about in Speaker's Corner? Sounds funny.
It is. There is a stupid disagreement among traditionalist Muslims on whether it is
Are
okay.
the ears the leather sock of the anus?
There's a whole controversy about whether when you do your ablution, washing, before you do the prayer, whether you can or cannot wear these stupid leather socks that they have throughout the Muslim world, whether you can or can't wear those while you do the ablution and then while you pray. Some say, I might be really dumbing this down, but it's an extremely dumb conversation and discussion to begin with. But some say your foot must be completely naked and you must wash your foot while you do the whole ablution thing to then be pure and ready for the prayer. Others say it is okay if you have that leather sock on you and only rinse that and then pray with it. And this is this actually becomes a big discussion among the Salafi Muslims and others. And somebody like Mohammed Hijab, I assume, I have never really seen the whole context of where he stands on the issue, but what I have seen from the video is, and I have to agree with him there, is he's saying, why are you guys wasting time on such discussions? Your child is going to become an apostate, and you're discussing about leather socks.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could even see back then that he would talk about, if only all Muslims could be united around a strong figure who will stand up for them. He's still envisioning himself as the future caliph of the new caliphate and so on. So he's got delusions of grandeur, but he's got a point. These guys are ready to fight over some of the dumbest stuff you can imagine.
It's very common. There's a joke that I told a while ago. Everyone thought I was just joking and making it up, but for example, several years ago, there was this whole thing going on around whether there is water on Mars or not. And eventually they came to the conclusion that there was once water and something like that. I don't know. But when the whole discussion emerged on whether there is water on Mars or not, one of the pressing questions which emerged in the Muslim world about that was not anything scientific. It was about whether whether you could do your ablution washing on Mars with the water or not, and how you would pray on Mars, in what direction you would pray. This is the kind of ridiculous, dumb, moronic stuff that the Muslim world is involved with, instead of engaging with actual science, which is why they are where they are.
That was a pretty mean thing to say. Could MBS modernizing Saudi Arabia cause a civil conflict? Certainly can, because as much, as powerful as he is, you do have a lot of hardcore religious leaders and so on there. But I would guess, I don't think it's going to happen. But it wouldn't shock me if it did. David, do you mind?
If Chloe is still here, by the way, she can tell us if there's water on Mars or not. I'm pretty sure there is.
David, do you mind asking questions via email? If you mean asking me questions via email, you can ask questions all you want. I'm just
No,
being.
they mean asking me questions per email.
Yeah, I'm just going to be straightforward here. I get 200 to 400 emails a day, so most questions are not going to be answered. I'm just being realistic here, and it's always in my brain. Hey, I could spend this time responding to a bunch of emails, or I could create some sort of content, and I usually go for creating some sort of content. So,
well, that's rude.
I will say the chances of me answering are proportional to how short the question and answer would be. In other words, people will send me if I open up an email and I see a long list of tons of in-depth questions, probably not happening if I don't know you well enough to think, okay, this is an important use of my time here. So
you heard it here first.
Just try to be straightforward.
When you send an email to David, David will look at it and be like, should I respond to this stupid email or rather do something productive?
Super sticker from Aisha. This person wrote out what the super sticker would be. Super sticker from Aisha. Goat character eating paper while 9-year-old woman 9-year-old woman character shrugs. Yes, she is a woman according to the Muslim cowboy. Rami here says, read this book. Read this book, Sword and the Scimitar. It is I think I've seen that. Or I have it somewhere. I haven't read it though. It is important to see what happened in the Middle East. Have you heard about it? Yeah, I think I've seen it or have it, but I do not recall. Definitely not. MBS says MBS will meet critics when they come for Hajj. Yeah, I would totally come for Hajj to talk to our good buddy. AP, as an atheist, how do you interpret Muhammad's death when he claimed his aorta had been cut in the hadith, considering how it connects to Quran 69, 44 to 46? So Surah 69 verses 44 to 46, that's where Allah says that if Muhammad had fabricated revelations, he would sever his aorta.
We actually had our disagreement on that, and we actually discussed that at some point in the past, you and I, where I would say that, in my opinion, back in the day, in his time, saying my aorta is being cut off was just a regular way of describing severe pain.
Okay, let's see all your references.
And seeing like,
you have none. You have none. So you're just making it up.
Paper.
Okay.
You want to see my research paper, huh?
Yeah, I want to see your research paper. Yes, cite your study. Cite your study. Inspiring AP.
Which I would say was probably a very generic way of describing severe pain or the feeling of being very sick and helpless and dying. I wouldn't say that that's necessarily because how exactly do you do? I mean, what exactly do you understand physically? For example, when somebody says, "I feel like my aorta is being cut off," it just sounds like something generic to say, and so I would say it's not necessarily a miracle or even a coincidence that he would say that in his deathbed.
Yeah, in my view, I'm not saying I don't actually believe that it's a miracle. I believe it can be. I believe it's a problem for people who are taking the Quran seriously and reading about how Muhammad died. But my view is, if you want to say this is a regular way of speaking, then we should see this all over the place, and you should be able to provide plenty of references, which you can't. But even if you did, notice it's it's either something specific, right? Like it's saying, hey, this is how I'm going to die. In which case, well, then Muhammad died in exactly the way that the Quran said he would die if he's a false prophet. But also if it's just some sort of generic way of having a certain kind of horrible pain or something which, by the way, I would guess, right? I mean, he's not saying my aorta is literally being severed because you just dropped dead. But how would he know that that's happening or something like that? So I interpret it as like some sort of like pain, like right here. This is horrible. I'm getting all this pain right here. But notice, even if you say that's what it refers to, well, that's what the Quran says is going to happen to Muhammad if he's a false prophet. He's going to be dying in this horrible way of, chest pain or something like that. And then he dies saying, I've got all this, oh man, it's killing me here. So even then, if you were a Muslim and took these sources seriously, you should be, oh gosh, he still died in kind of this horrible, painful way that is what Allah said would happen.
Mm-hmm.
Can you check my leather straps? No.
Go to the doctor.
Yeah, go to the doctor for that. We're not doctors. We just play one on TV. Dexter Martin says, maybe Mecca will become a huge church. That would be cool. Or the parking lot for a huge church. Farfour says, Harris sounds like BMS, potentially... BMS. I think you mean MBS. BMS, we'll go with BMS. Potentially being an atheist almost as much as we like Gotha. Harris likes BMS potentially being an atheist almost as much as we like Gotha. Yeah, Farfour definitely likes his Gotha.
That makes sense.
Kaaba is kind of mid. What's mid mean? What's mid mean in lingo?
Kaaba is kind of mid means it's, middle on a rating. When people refer to when they rate somebody of the opposite gender as a mid, when they describe somebody who's like, neither too bad nor too good.
Okay. A few more here. God is the main villain in One Punch Man.
Boomer.
Is he? I haven't seen that I haven't seen that on the show, but is that in the comics?
Yeah. No, I don't know. I have no idea. Never seen it.
Mercedes F1 fan. David Wood will enter Jahannam, inshallah. Amen. Yeah, dude, figure out what you're pretending to be, because you used to post these mean comments, and you said, "Oh, I've converted now." Now you're posting David Wood will enter Jahannam, and just can't take anything you say seriously anymore. Immortal 17, unrelated, but why is apostasy rate? Unrelated, but why is apostasy rate is most now?
Yeah.
Not sure. Do you mean is it growing? Yeah, we've kind of been discussing that. They had people insulated from hearing criticisms, and now people can find out the problems with Islam, and they can see them around the world, and the apostasy rate is skyrocketing.
It's because the internet is doing the opposite of what the printing press did to Christianity.
You see, we have this the proof. What are you laughing at?
Man, just that argument, that phrase.
What is this? Amos 1, 6-8. This verse is mind-blowing.
I agree.
Thus says the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and for 4, I will not revoke its punishment, because they deported an entire population to deliver it up to Edom. So I will send fire upon the wall of Gaza, and it will consume her citadels. I will also cut off the inhabitant from Ashdod, and him who holds the scepter from Ashkelon. I will even unleash my power upon Ekron, and the remnant of the Philistines will perish, says the Lord God.
Powerful stuff. But you can't have it both ways. You can't. I mean, it refers to old times and an old population that has nothing to do with the current population, right? And I guess you would either have to accept that, I don't know, that the current population is somehow related to the old population, or that it's not. Or, of course, you could just take this very specific thing as a metaphorical but very interesting description of things. Or you could just ignore what I just said.
Yeah, so I interpret that as applying to the Philistines. So I've pointed out before that if you wanted to apply it to current situations, you have to believe in a double fulfillment for these prophecies, kind of the way there can be a double fulfillment for messianic prophecies, like, might apply to something might apply to King David or Solomon or something in a limited sense, but it applies to the Messiah in a greater sense. You'd have to say we're going to interpret it that way, that this prophecy had a limited fulfillment for the Philistines at that time, but has a future fulfillment as well, or something like that. But yeah, I'm not familiar enough to say that I would affirm.
I was a Muslim before I read this super chat, and now I'm still a Muslim.
Still a Muslim, you see.
My iman stronger.
To be honest, if Petra was the real Mecca, it may be mentioned in the Bible as Salah, and also Mu is Nabatean. Only way to prove Ishmael and Abraham built the Kaaba.
No.
Only way to prove Ishmael and Abraham built the Kaaba.
No.
Oh, if you're going to say it's Petra. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think they've got a good case for any of that. Farfour says, guys,
That's disrespectful.
Guys, you don't understand. We can't let corruption in the land spread. They may start only atheist. We only accept goats.
Only atheists. What exactly happens? I'm really wondering.
What do you expect your channel / outreach to Muslims to be like in the next 5 to 10 years? Thanks for everything. I think we're going to see the collapse of Dawah very soon, and I would be happy to be interacting in a very different way, because a lot of what we do is reaction to certain Dawah approaches, and we adapt for that. With that said, unless Islam just completely collapses, we'll still be exposing Islam and going through the sources and things like that. What do you think, AP?
I would think that predicting the future
You literally call yourself a prophet. Okay, go ahead.
is best done by those who know the future.
Mm-hmm. So it's your prophet.
Yeah.
Okay, here you go from Giovanni. AP would be good at emptying his mind. He's an atheist. There's not much there to begin with. Oh, don't ban me, please. You're not going to be.
Aren't we supposed to ban Giovanni? Like we already agreed to that.
Not anymore. Not anymore. About to make him a moderator saying awesome stuff like this.
What is this? First he insults you, then he insults me, then he insults you again, then he insults me and tries to get good with you. What is happening? What is this?
I don't know.
What are you playing, Giovanni?
Farfor says, my meditations consist of goats, Hey, here's a funny little story. This was years ago. My son Luke was maybe, I don't know, 8 or 9 or something, and he was playing I think he was playing like Clash of Clans or something like that. And he was telling me what was going on in the game, and he goes, yeah, and so there's all this stuff going on, but then around the edges there are these people who are masturbating. And I go, what? I go, what's happening? He goes, yeah, they're along the edges masturbating. And I go, in your game? He goes, yeah. And I go, they're doing what? He goes, masturbating. And I go, Luke, what do you think masturbating is? He goes, like, Om. And I go, Luke, that's meditating. And he goes, what's masturbating? And I go, it's playing with your weenie. And he goes, oh, and he started cracking up laughing. Anyway, like a few weeks goes by. We're driving home from school. So it's me and Marie and Luke and Blaze in the back. And we're driving by this cemetery, huge cemetery, Woodlawn Cemeteries. Lots of like famous people buried there. So we're driving by the cemetery, and Luke goes, I think there was some guy masturbating over there. And I go, you mean meditating? He goes, no, masturbating. And I go, really? You saw a guy masturbating? He goes, well, I don't know. I saw him lying on the ground. I see his hand going up and down like this. And all of a sudden we hear my other son, Blaze, goes, that's what Lucian always does at the graveyard. So he was saying Luke always does that at the graveyard. I thought it was funny because Luke literally just found out what the word masturbating means, and Blaze was saying that's what he does at the graveyard. Anyway, those are funny, pretty funny times. Why did I bring that up? Oh, my meditations. Yeah, Om. When you said Om, it reminded me of Luke going Om, and not knowing what the word meant.
That's pretty good.
Most Palestinians I've talked to were a big fan of an infamous Austrian painter. I didn't know why before your live streams. Dankeschön.
Was that a failed painter by any chance? Probably.
Goat Hub says, hey, village boys, if you like meditation, come on down. You can keep your heads empty and your guts full. Yes, I'm from AP's stream. Goat Hub, ladies and gentlemen. Acknowledging that these people come over from AP's stream. Dora Daniel says, when are you planning to visit Israel? Maybe we shouldn't tell in case jihadis get any ideas. So we know to tell our friendly neighbors to stop attacking us for your visit would be rude to do otherwise. Yes, that is correct.
We appreciate that. Yeah.
We'll probably tell everyone we're there, like when we're there.
Yeah.
Christian says, can we hear the goat scream? But only if the trajectory continues. if the trajectory continues.
We're also planning on going to the West Bank and doing a live stream directly from Ramallah in the middle of.
That's going to be super cool. I'm
so
going to go stay.
place.
I'm going to stay in a 4-star hotel in the presidential suite. I'm going to record it all, and I'm going to post a video titled, "I spent a day in the world's largest open-air prison." Going to be powerful. Will Europe fall to Islam, AP?
No.
No. Yeah, I don't think Europe will fall to Islam either. The longer Europe waits to actually confront Islam, I think the worse it's going to be.
That's true.
Like, I believe you're still at a stage where you can deal with most of the issues very peacefully and so on. As Islam grows and gets more radical, a more brutal response is going to be required, which is so weird because we try to deal with it through speech and through arguments and through exposing things and so on. And everyone calls us bigots and, oh, you're so evil and you're Islamophobes. When we're the ones who try to deal with stuff peacefully. If you don't deal with it peacefully, then eventually you have to deal with it not peacefully. And I'd like to not have to do that.
That's true. The thing is, Western people can be very naive when it comes to dealing with
and stupid.
Stupid when it comes to dealing with other populations.
Stupid is as stupid does.
However, the Islamists are more and more showing their true faces and making clear to everyone what their intentions and what their beliefs actually are. Lots of people are seeing it, and I truly believe in one thing, and I say this without trying to be insulting, believing that I'm merely stating a fact. That
Here we go.
That European people are intelligent. European people are smart. They built something. They're still at the forefront of building things, providing wonderful places where those people want to go to live, because their own places are full of crap and hellholes and nothing is being done. And I don't know how I can say this without making it sound completely terrible, but there is I would say that Europeans are not stupid enough to be pushed over and defeated by a group that does not necessarily share the same quality of being very intelligent.
Tying that together with what I was saying, if politicians and journalists and educators and entertainers just stopped defending Islam from criticism, even if they didn't want to actually help expose it, if they just shut up and stop defending it, I believe Islam collapses just from information. If people actually did their job, like if there were a terrorist attack and journalists actually did their job and exposed the causes of that, or if they did imagine opening the newspaper and saying, and reading about how all of the most popular da'is all defend child marriage and so on, and they started exposing it like that, I think it would happen. It would be very quick and would be very easy to expose and undermine Islam. If they keep defending it, I think you eventually get to a point where Europeans just rise up against their leaders and against the journalists, against their politicians if they have to. You get to a point where you realize, I can't sit back and do nothing anymore because I have to think about the future of my children and stuff. And it's just not worth sitting back and doing nothing anymore. And so I don't care what happens. I'm going to stand against this. But I think, the longer people wait to deal with the problem, the worse the problem, the worse the solution's going to have to be.
I don't believe in longer people. So I don't even think that it would be necessary for people to rise up and put an end to it. I think that that Europeans would, before it goes too far, put an end to it by it's already happening by electing people and enacting policies that prevent this stuff from going further into a bad direction. And I know some people understood what I just said in the nicest way possible, and somebody said,
"Let's leave it at that."
Are you saying that there's a racial factor? No, I'm not saying that at all. On the contrary,
AP is saying only white people are smart. That's what AP is saying.
I'm saying there is actually a religious factor at play which influences how people think and the quality of their thinking.
Problem: Muslims on Mars would be in spacesuits. Wait, what? Problem: Muslims on Mars would be in spacesuits. Oh yeah, how they going to do their how they going to do their washings and so on? Yeah, you're going to have to be in a dome like in Total Recall.
Gotta figure it out.
Can you guys eat the Quran at the Temple Mount? That might be something. Ooh. Yes, I could. I probably will. Brecht says, D. Wood, is Islam an Arab religion or universal? If it's Arab, is anti-Islam racist? It's kind of both. Islam is, according to Islam, Islam is this, this religion of submission to Allah for everyone, and has gone to all people and all groups and so on. Islam, as we know it, actually it was a very Arab-centered religion because it's supposedly, the purpose of the Quran is for Arabs to have a revelation in their own language and not have to depend on revelations to other people and so on. And it's just assumed that that people need a book in their own language. But yeah, if you look at what it turned into is that everyone needs to adopt this, and everyone needs to basically become a 7th century Arab in order to submit to God. And it's pretty silly. So yeah, it's kind of both. It's Arab centric, but supposedly adopted by everyone. That's what Islam morphed into.
That's so racist of you to say. But yeah, pretty much the expansion of Islam is basically Arab imperialism and Arab cultural imperialism. All those people that all the cultures that adopted Islam changed a lot of their values, their traditions into Arab values and Arab traditions from the 7th century. Which is why even in today in the West, you see that some regular white guy from America who converts to Islam suddenly starts saying Arabic words, like on a regular day,
and dressing like that, and
Wallah ya akhi, Wallah ya akhi, I swear, and Alhamdulillah, Wallah bro. Like suddenly they have a broken English. Suddenly they start saying weird things with an Arab accent. It's because Islam is inherently Arabic.
Pretty weird. All right, almost done. Let's see. Farfor says, is quoting AP, not to be insulting, every Muslim is dumb, AP. Messed up. Yes. Yes, Farfor. Thank you, Farfor, for exposing that extremely rude claim. Here's a question for AP. As an atheist, would AP give his window seat to a kid? So talking about flying here.
What? Would I give my window seat to a kid?
If you're on a plane and you have a window seat and a kid wants to look out the window, would you give your window seat to a kid as an atheist?
Or would
you say, I'm an atheist, I don't care about you?
I would say, I'm going to throw you out the window if you're going to ask me one more time. Yes, I would.
Okay, you heard it here, folks. Even atheists can be completely inconsistent with their own moral foundations and do the right thing.
Well, I would at least pretend that I care about the child, just to get something good out of it, because that's what atheists do.
Wait, what's this? Zahub said, hijab joking about David's past is so cruel and disgusting. Was he?
Hijab was asked by Abdullah Hussein about if he would change his ways, and hijab made a stupid joke saying if you jump at the show, you're going to get wet. What? I don't know. With Dilly Hussein, I don't know.
Yeah, we're not familiar with this.
I don't know.
Was he joking? I hope he was, because I love it.
I don't watch Mohammed Hijab as much as he watches us.
Yeah, he definitely watches us more.
I watched Pikachu more than I watched Mohammed Hijab.
You know what's funny? We used to interact more, and he would be posting in the comment section. He's just posting golden showers, golden showers, golden showers. So really stupid, childish stuff. But then he's still interacting with us. I mean, he's constantly posting at you, at our wives, at everyone else, and then we dial it up and say, "We will eat your freaking book if you come at us like this." And then notice he didn't want anything to, and then he tried to silence us by like getting, "Oh, do you condemn David Wood? Do you condemn David Wood? Do you condemn what David and AP are doing?" They tried that for a while and it didn't work. And then they changed their approach and it's, "Everyone just ignore them. Don't interact with them anymore." And I actually, when they're going around saying, "We're going to ignore them. We're not going to respond. We're not going to interact with them anymore. We're going to ignore them." There was that line from The Breakfast Club from John Bender that popped into my head where he goes, where Claire says, "Just ignore him." And he goes, "Sweets, you couldn't ignore me if you tried." That's what I was thinking. It's like, okay, you guys want to ignore us? All right. Now let's play the how much we do before you give up on ignoring us. And looks like we're entering that if he's talking about us and so on.
Alhamdulillah.
We're in this phase of him not being able to ignore us.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, you can't ignore AP and the Dizzle.
The legend.
You can't ignore the champ and the legend.
Yeah.
You got the champ and the legend right here. You can ignore us. What a doofus. Hey, Dawa guys, try to ignore us. See what happens. Watch.
See what happens. See what we do to you.
Some guy says, "What do y'all do for a living?" "We crush Islam." What do you think?
Yeah.
Emmanuel says, "Maybe Allah can't understand other languages." That, in theory, that's not true, but why else would everyone need to? I mean, like that seems the assumption when I have to pray in Arabic, right? I have to pray in Arabic. What's the assumption there, that Allah can't understand my language? That's so stupid.
No, I was always told that it's because it unites the ummah and stuff like that, which is just a very stupid excuse.
Pretty dumb. Sir Whitemeat says, "Ain't gonna follow no nihilism, deep depression, atheism. Ain't gonna follow no nihilism. Secularism's not for me." Ha! I got that perfect first try.
I'm going to ban Sir Whitemeat from my channel.
Yeah, but he's welcome here because he exposed you. Alexis says, "I've been watching D Wood." I thought we were done. And then a bunch of people tossed in a couple more super chats. Alexis said, "I've been watching D Wood when I saw a video of Nabil many years ago. I've been watching AP since he started his channel. I love you guys. CP2.
See?
These are cool. These are cool times. These are awesome times. We need more. We need more of you. Those of you who make content. Keep it up. Make it more. Some of you young bucks got to get started. You got to just start making them. You start making them. Pick a topic you're interested in and start posting stuff.
You sound like like an old grandpa when you say that.
You sound like someone's great grandma. AP,
young bucks.
AP, don't forget you. AP, don't forget you already made a personal promise to make this year's celebration of International Apostasy Day, 22nd of August, the best this year. Did you do that? Did you say that?
To make this year's celebration of International Apostasy Day, 22nd of August, the best this year. Huh? Why?
Did you say
I
that?
forgot about that.
If you made that promise, if you made that promise, I'm rolling with it. We're going to make it huge.
It sounds like it
sounds like something you would say.
It sounds like something I might have said in response to something, but I don't remember why. So I don't know.
Hey, canceled club member, remind us later on once we get a little closer to the 22nd of August. Once we start getting into like June, July, remind us again. And then AP, if AP wants to go all out for something, I'll roll with him.
Yeah.
Ride or die. It's ride or die here. That's how we roll.
Yeah. That's what we do.
Pink cheese mousse limbs. Nanny poo poo just arrived. Any more Islamic square dance words? No, haven't come up with them, but I think some people are going to start working on the beat. Again, I would like to make that like a 4 or 5 minute song. AP, you're not familiar with because I told everyone that to get the beat from the Bugs Bunny skit. But what was hilarious, the skit was actually hilarious. They couldn't even make this anymore. It was two guys like the Hatfield and McCoy. Anyway, two rednecks, and they were both hunting Bugs Bunny. Bugs Bunny figured out that the guys can't resist square dance, so as long as he's singing, they can't kill him. They have to they can't stop dancing if they're singing square dance music. But he starts singing the lyrics and he's making them like beat the crap out of each other and walk off cliffs and stuff like that. I'd like to make it like that, but with Islamic stuff. That would be cool. Ryder King, no comment. Daniel Kickajou also loves CP. Yeah, he sure does. And Brecht here, this is the last one. D Wood, I matched with a hot revert.
The thing is, I don't understand now when people say CP if they mean Christian Prince or if they mean something else.
Oh yeah,
That's the
you
problem.
can't tell with Daniel, yeah, because it could be something totally perverted. And finally, Brecht here says, D Wood, I matched with a hot revert in Argentina on Tinder. Do we risk this or not really?
What?
Don't know what your background is, but yeah. Go for if you're an atheist, go for the hot revert, see what happens. Is it Rosie? All right, everyone. What do we got coming up this week? You know?
We're gonna do some really interesting things. Gonna do some real good things.
Gonna be. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm going to go back and dive into analyzing the whole debate with Daniel Kikic. I might make a long live stream on that and invite different people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm planning on doing a whole Hitler and Grand Mufti Ryan Gosling during the Second World War. I'm planning on doing something on that with you.
You've got to make a movie about that. You've got to make a movie about that and get Ryan Gosling to play the Mufti.
I will.
And you play Hitler.
That'll be good.
Yeah, that would be. And yeah, guys, I've mentioned I have a pretty dope video for channel members that's already available to you. Go to the community tab and you can get the video there. Everyone else, that'll be live tomorrow. That'll be public tomorrow morning. And you want to check that out because I'm not letting this one slide. I'm going to stay on this one until they acknowledge that I'm correct. And that'll be another piece of the Islamic puzzle taken out. Joshua. Hey, you started getting staticky again. Isn't that weird?
What?
Yeah, you started getting staticky. What is this? What you get this new fancy microphone and it just sucks after a couple hours.
No, it's the audio interface that I got probably.
Pretty crappy. It's a good thing we're done. Joshua says, not sure if you've ever addressed this, but does the theory that Islam started as a Christian heresy make sense to you guys? I still think you can view Islam as a Christian heresy in the sense that Islam is interacting with some Christians early on and absorbs some heretical views. But I mean, notice that. I mean, you know, a heresy is you've got some of the substance there, but you lack the core Christian doctrines. And so Islam agrees with Christians that God exists, that God sent prophets, believes in the biblical prophets, believes in John the Baptist, believes that Jesus is born of a virgin, Jesus performs miracles, Jesus is the Messiah, Jesus is going to come back, believes all these things, and then rejects the core teachings of the gospel. So Jesus' death, his resurrection, his divine nature. And so that kind of fits the definition of a heresy pretty well. So I think you can view it that way.
Am I still staticky?
Yeah, you sound really, really weird. No, you're not static anymore, but you sound weird. You sound like you're just talking through your regular computer now.
Oh, really?
And now you got super quiet. AP, professional YouTube streamer. Wow. I think we're just going to have to wrap it up because now you're completely silent, AP. So I'll just read these remaining super chats.
How about now?
Well, you try to, it still sounds weird. You're good though. We can hear you. You're good for the end of the show. We don't need you, but you do need to figure out your audio. Dizzle, do you recall Operation Monkey Wrench? Yeah, I recall. I don't remember which video it was, but I said that at the end of a video, and I said we'll call this Operation Monkey Wrench. I don't even remember what that was in reference to. D Wood has the best outro, better than dude on the right. That is absolutely true. I like that AP is referred to as the dude on the right. And Ryan Spooner.
I'm gonna ban that person. How about
Right.
now? Am I sounding good now? Is it good now? Is it good now?
No, it sounds weird. But go ahead. You can check yours. We're about to close off. If you stop whining, we're about to close out, and you can go to the end of the video and check out how you sound and see.
Stop saying goat.
Hey, David, it's cool to see you're on YouTube again. I'm praying God keeps you from deception and continues using you to edify believers and reach the unsaved, maybe even your friend AP. Yes, that is all good stuff to be praying for. And
That's true.
finally, T Turbine says, thanks for what you guys do. David's a good brother in the Lord, and AP's a good bro too. Cheers. Yes, we are good bros. No one's going to doubt. No one's going to doubt that.
Inshallah.
I keep trying to close out. People are still sending the super chats.
How about now?
John
How do I sound
832.
now?
Cancer spreads. Humanity dies.
Do I sound good now?
No, something sounds
Do I
weird.
sound good now?
You got to
Do
figure
I
out your
sound
stuff,
good
man.
now?
It's like amateur hour.
Do I sound good now? How about
This
now?
went from awesome live stream to embarrassingly terrible ending. All right, guys. I guess all we can do now is close out with a song to try and not hear AP anymore embarrassing us. All right. Catch y'all later, and we're gonna have. Wait, I need my outro goat. I got my outro goat. And we have from Far 4 here. Stay. Can't do it Far 4. And all we can do is close out with a song.
Ain't gonna follow no child molester, sex offender, private pretender. Ain't gonna follow no child molester.
Islam's not for me. Islam's not for me.
Islam's
Not for me.
Catch y'all next time.